You don't exist. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowed like sis. Dead up perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the second part of What If Naruto Enters Power Rangers. Special note, this fanfic is written in a masterpiece of Windstorm 16 on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Later. After 2 more hours, Kakashi finally arrived at the academy, entering the classroom only to be surprised when he saw it was empty. Looking around for his would-be students, the copy ninja took notice of the note pinned to the door, surprised to find they left to go train. That's a first, Kakashi stated, given all the other teams he had never left the classroom. But he supposed it was a good way to spend time while waiting for him. Seeing what training ground they went to, Kakashi shined away before reappearing in the trees where he was hidden but could still see his potential students, wanting to see what they were like during training before revealing himself. The Jonin watching as Satsuki practiced her fire-style ninjutsu, Hinata practicing her juken and using what he guessed were transformed clones as targets, and surprisingly seemed to be using elemental ninjutsu as well. Kakashi only being further surprised when he looked to Naruto, only to see he had several clones all training as well in ninjutsu, taijutsu, chakra control, and even fuinjutsu. Guess that means he knows the secret of the shadow clone jutsu, and a Hyuga branching out to use ninjutsu. Wonder what Satsuki will try learning that's surprising for an Uchiha, thought Kakashi, seeing his potential students were already different from what he was expecting. Deciding he's seen enough, Kakashi shined to the middle of the training ground, getting the trio's attention with Naruto dispelling his clones. My first impression you three is, you're very strange, Kakashi stated, only to be met with deadpan looks. And our first impression is you're not very good with showing up on time, said Hinata, getting a raised brow from Kakashi. Perhaps, but I'm glad to see you three take the initiative to train while you wait. Now then, since we're all here, let's start off with introductions, then tell some stuff about ourselves such as our likes, dislikes, hobbies, and dreams for the future, said Kakashi, with the 3 genin walking to stand in front of him. I'll go first. My name is Kakashi Headache. I like some things and I dislike other things. My dreams for future. I have lots of hobbies, Kakashi introduced, making the 3 sweat drop since he just told them his name. Now then, you next pale eyes, Kakashi said, motioning to Hinata. Hello, my name is Hinata Hyuga. My likes are my friends, my little sister, cinnamon rolls, and training. My dislikes are liars, traitors, those who hurt the people I care about, and a certain seal. My hobbies are pressing flowers, learning new techniques, and improving myself. And my dreams for the future are to become a great kunoichi and to hopefully have a family one day, Hinata said, blushing at the end and giving a quick glance at Naruto before looking away. All right, your turn, sunshine, said Kakashi to Satsuki, whose eye twitched at the nickname. My name is Satsuki Uchiha. My likes are tomatoes, my friends, training, and training. My dislikes are anything sweet, traitors, annoying nicknames, and one person. My hobbies are training, taking walks, and learning new techniques, and improving what I already know. And I don't have a dream for the future. I have a goal to restore my clan and find and kill someone, Satsuki said darkly, swearing she will find Itachi and kill him. Great. And lastly the goth kid, said Kakashi, looking at Naruto, who looked unamused at his own nickname. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. My likes are my friends, those I trust, ramen, training, and gardening. My dislikes are liars, traitors, those who hurt my friends, and late scarecrows. My hobbies are pulling pranks, watering plants, improving myself, and learning new things. My dreams for the future, I don't know, said Naruto while ending with a shrug, with Kakashi raising a brow at this. Okay, pretty standard stuff. Though Hinata seems a lot more confident than from what I've heard, I'm guessing from spending time with Naruto and Satsuki. Satsuki's expected in wanting to find Itachi, though doesn't seem as obsessed and desperate. again probably from Naruto's influence and helped by now befriending Hinata as well. And Naruto? I can see what the Hokage meant, Kakashi thought, since he never would have expected Naruto to give up his dream of becoming Hokage. Seeing the Hokage was right, that while he's not a flight risk, all it'd take is someone pushing him far enough to turn him into one. Okay, with that out of the way, I have an announcement. None of you are officially genin yet, Kakashi said, much to the trio's shock at hearing this. But we already passed the genin test and graduated, said Satsuki, annoyed at hearing this, while Naruto and Hinata nodded in agreement. Perhaps you passed the Academy's graduation exam, but that's not the true genin test, which will be happening tomorrow at Training Ground 7. Meet me there at 5 am sharp, and one last thing, don't eat breakfast or else you'll throw up, Kakashi said with an eye smile before vanishing in a puff of smoke. Seeing their teacher was gone, the three traded looks before nodding as they left to return home and prepare for tomorrow. Time skip one day. Arriving at Training Ground 7, Naruto, Satsuki, and Hinata saw that once Kakashi was late again. You two had breakfast too, right? Naruto asked rhetorically, both girls nodding in response. Of course, like we were going to do that just because he told us, replied Satsuki while rolling her eyes, knowing it'd only be detrimental to them to not eat. Yeah, and given that Kakashi-sensei isn't here and will likely arrive late again, it was probably just to put us at more of a disadvantage during the test, said Hinata, something that Naruto and Satsuki had to agree with, making them glad they ignored Kakashi's instructions. With the trio getting started on some light exercise to pass the time until Kakashi arrived, making sure they were ready and warmed up, though also making sure to conserve their energy for whatever test Kakashi had in store for them. Only stopping after 3 hours had passed and Kakashi appeared in a swirl of leaves, seeing the genin had already arrived, and from the looks of it ignored his instructions to not eat breakfast. Good you're all here, then I guess there's no point wasting any more time, on to the test, said Kakashi before taking out 2 bells, confusing the three at what their purpose was. Your test is simple, all you three have to do is take these bells from me. Whoever doesn't have a bell at the end of the test fails and gets sent back to the academy, Kakashi said, making them frown since there's only 2 bells for them to take. Meaning at least one of us will fail since there are only 2 bells, Naruto stated, with the jonin nodding in response. That's right, who that is will depend on whichever of 3 gets a bell first. And just know, the only way you'll get a bell is if you come at me with the intent to kill. You all have an hour to try and get one, and your time starts now, said Kakashi, pulling out a timer and setting it for 1 hour, with all 3 genin immediately jumping back into the trees and hiding. Looking around for where they could be hiding, Kakashi had to admit they're already doing pretty good at hiding themselves, taking a few moments to locate where they were. Let's see, Satsuki's hiding among the trees not too far from me, Hinata in the bushes over there, and Naruto is up in a tree there, Kakashi thought, glancing to where each of the genin were hiding, as while he couldn't visibly see them he can still sense them. Now just to see who makes the first move. And in the meantime, thought Kakashi, pulling out his book to get caught up on his reading. The sight making the 3 genin sweat drop that he's actually reading during a test, but also figured they didn't really pose any threat to a jonin. But we don't have to beat him, we just need to get the bells, thought Satsuki, pulling at some shuriken before throwing them, and having them curve in the air towards Kakashi to make it look like she's in a different position. With Kakashi not even looking up from his book as he raised his hand, catching 2 of the shuriken on his fingers before throwing them at the remaining ones, knocking them out of the air. The jonin then jumping out of the way when several kunai were launched at him from the trees, with Satsuki taking this chance to jump into the air above Kakashi while going through hand signs. Fire style, grand fireball jutsu, Satsuki shouted, releasing a giant fireball at Kakashi, surprising the copy ninja at the size of the attack. She has enough chakra to use a C-rank elemental ninjutsu already, Kakashi thought, before using a substitution to escape the fireball. With Satsuki frowning, when she only saw a burned log where Kakashi once was, before she quickly jumped back when Kakashi appeared behind her to deliver a spin kick to the back of her head. Impressive, being able to use a C-rank elemental ninjutsu at your age isn't easy, Kakashi stated, with Satsuki merely smirking in response and going through hand signs again. You haven't seen anything yet. Fire style, Phoenix Sage Fire Jutsu, said Satsuki, releasing several mini fireballs at Kakashi. Okay then, let's see what you all know. Water style, Water Formation Wall, Kakashi said, releasing a large stream of water which rose in front of him, creating a wall, stopping the fireballs. With the headache, seeing Satsuki had also put shurikens in the fireballs that passed through the water before losing their momentum. Only for his eyes to widen that she'd also put explosive tags on the shurikens, forcing him to jump back just as the tags exploded. With Kakashi quickly raising his arm blocking a kick from Satsuki when she used the explosions to get in close. The Uchiha not stopping as she used her momentum to flip over Kakashi to punch him in the side of his head, only for the Jonin to duck under her strike and slam his foot into her stomach, knocking her back. Only for Kakashi to see Satsuki used her own substitution to escape his attack. Fire style, Fox Fire, Satsuki said, reappearing to Kakashi's left as 10 blue fireballs appeared in a circle formation in front of her, which she then launched towards Kakashi with her hand motions. Dodging the fireballs, Kakashi's eyes widened when he saw several ghost-shaped fireballs flying towards him, forcing him to jump back, grunting when one of the ghosts hit him and exploded into a large amount of fire. Fire style, Demon Lantern, Satsuki said with a smirk, liking some of the new ninjutsu she's learned from the scrolls Naruto gave her. Before her smirk vanished when her jutsu faded, revealing another scorched log and Kakashi nowhere in sight, making the Uchiha look around for where he would attack from. Not to the left, right, or behind, and not above either. That just leaves, thought Satsuki before her eyes widened and quickly jumped into air, narrowly escaping her ankles being grabbed by 2 hands bursting out of the ground. Good reflexes, but not good enough. Water style, Water Bullet Jutsu, said Kakashi as he appeared above Satsuki before releasing a large stream of water at the Uchiha, impacting her back and sending her crashing into the ground, with her grabbed this time and dragged underground up to her neck. And Earth style, Headhunter Jutsu, Kakashi said, emerging from the ground while the one in the air dispersed, revealing it was a shadow clone, with Satsuki glaring up at the copy ninja while trying to free herself to no avail. Okay, that's one down. Let's see what Naruto and Hinata will do, thought Kakashi, returning to the main training ground to see what the remaining genin will do and who'll attack next. Only to be surprised when Hinata was the one to make the next move, trying to sneak up behind Kakashi and strike his tenketsu. The Jonin managing to dodge just in time and deflect Hinata's next strike, only to feel his hand become slightly numb. What the hell? Kakashi thought, looking at his hand in confusion, sure that he didn't let Hinata strike him in one of his tenketsu, only to be forced to move back when Hinata tried striking him again. Dropping to the ground to avoid her next strike, Kakashi swept Hinata's legs out from under her, knocking the Hyuga to the ground. With Hinata managing to put her hands on the ground and flipped backwards away from Kakashi when he tried kicking her away, managing to get on her feet before launching herself at the Jonin, delivering a palm strike to his shoulder, which Kakashi managed to dodge. Only for Kakashi to grunt at feeling his shoulders start going numb like his hand, confusing him further since he's sure he's dodging Hinata's strikes. Seeing this, Hinata couldn't help but mentally smile, but knew she'd need to slow Kakashi down further to get a better opening to try and take the bells, with the blue net pulling out several shuriken and throwing them at Kakashi, who pulled out a kunai and deflected them, before quickly jumping back when Hinata got in close to deliver a palm strike to his abdomen, grunting at feeling his foot going numb as well. Seriously, what is going on? Thought Kakashi, confused at how Hinata was making parts of his body numb when she's not striking him, before seeing the girl go through hand signs. Lightning style, lightning ball, Hinata said, creating several balls of lightning which were launched at Kakashi, who immediately jumped into the air while going through hand signs. Wind style, air bullets, Kakashi said before shooting out several blasts of air at the lightning balls, dispersing them, only to see Hinata going through hand signs again. Fire style, fox fire, said Hinata, creating 10 blue fireballs which she launched at Kakashi, growing bigger and more intense when they impacted the air bullets, making Kakashi mentally curse upon seeing that the lightning balls were just a diversion to make him use a wind-style ninjutsu. Quickly using a substitution to escape the attack, Kakashi sighed in relief that he managed to escape being burned. They're definitely better than I expected. Knowing all these powerful ninjutsu and which elements are strong and weak against others, Kakashi thought before he was forced to dodge another strike from Hinata, grunting as he felt his entire leg going numb, slowing him down, which also gave Hinata a chance to get in close. "You're within my range of division," Hinata said before striking 2 of Kakashi's tenketsu. 2 palms, 4 palms, 8 palms, 16 palms, 8 trigrams 32 palms, said Hinata, giving a final strike to Kakashi's abdomen, sending him skidding back before he fell to the ground, groaning in pain. I actually hit him," Hinata thought while smiling at seeing she managed to strike Kakashi and would be able to get the bells. "But there are only 2, so I'd have to decide who to give the other 2, thought Hinata in worry, since she didn't want to choose between her friends, before shaking her head. If she manages get to the bells, then she'll just give them both to Naruto and Satsuki, knowing they've worked really hard to become genin and don't deserve to go back to the academy. Even if the Hyuga is sad that she won't be able to be on a team with them, she'll also be happy they pass. But first I have to see if I can get them," Hinata thought as she slowly approached Kakashi, ready to strike him again in case he was faking it. Once she was close enough and saw the bells, Hinata instantly went to grab them before he could recover, only to cry out when Kakashi suddenly burst into lightning, electrocuting the Hyuga before she fell to the ground, feeling her entire body was paralyzed, with the real Kakashi appearing in front of her. "That was pretty good, channeling lightning chakra into your Juken strikes," Kakashi stated, having realized what Hinata was doing with how she made parts of his body go numb. By channeling lightning chakra into her strikes, she'll make it so even if an opponent dodges, the lightning surrounding her hands will still make contact and electrocute them, thought Kakashi, impressed at the ingenuity, while having switched with a lightning style, shadow clone after dodging her fireballs. Though he could tell she still needed to work on it, given he could still move his body parts that were shocked when he guessed she wanted to paralyze them. Now that just leaves Naruto, and I'd prefer not dealing with any tricks he may have up his sleeves, Kakashi thought while sunshining away. Meanwhile, Naruto had watched Satsuki and Hinata fight Kakashi, impressed at seeing how far they come outside of sparring matches, but knew they were still seriously outclassed against Kakashi in terms of power and experience. "Hey, Naruto," Kakashi whispered right behind Naruto, making the Uzumaki tense before quickly pulling out a kunai and slashing it at the Jonin, only to freeze when he made a hand sign. "Demonic illusion, hell viewing jutsu," said Kakashi, placing Naruto under a genjutsu, only to be surprised when Naruto suddenly burst into a cloud of smoke, showing it was a shadow clone. "Beast wave palm." Hearing the shout, Kakashi quickly jumped out of the tree just as several waves of chakra sliced right through the tree and where he'd been standing, with the real Naruto jumping out from where he was hiding, while going through hand signs. "Wind style, sword of the wind count," Naruto said, swinging his hand and releasing a compressed blade of wind at Kakashi, who went through hand signs. "Fire style, grand fireball jutsu," Kakashi said, releasing a wave of flames, which grew stronger from the wind blade as they rushed towards Naruto. "Wind style, shield of the wind count," said Naruto, throwing his hands in front of him to create a protective barrier of wind, making Kakashi frown as his flames hit the barrier, only to be surprised when rather than empower the flames, they were instead repelled right back at him, while becoming even stronger than before. "Water style, surging sea," Kakashi said, expelling a massive amount of water that managed to extinguish the flames before they could hit him, creating a large wall of steam between him and Naruto. "Wind style, spiraling wind ball," Naruto shouted through the steam, before suddenly several small whirlwind-like balls shot through the steam towards Kakashi, surprising the Jonin at their speed as he moved to dodge them. Grunting in pain when one of the wind balls slammed into his side, making him thankful he was able to dodge the rest of them. With Naruto then rushing out of the steam and jumping at Kakashi, delivering a spin kick to his head, which the headache managed to block before Naruto flipped over him, slamming his fist into the back of his head. Recovering from the punch, Kakashi slammed his foot into Naruto's stomach, knocking him back, only for the Uzumaki to flip in the air before throwing a handful of shuriken at Kakashi, then going through hand signs. "Wind style, gale palm," Naruto said, releasing a powerful gale of wind, causing the shuriken to immediately shoot towards Kakashi at high speed. Earth style, mud wall, Kakashi said, slamming his hands on the ground as a large earth wall with bulldog statues on it rose up blocking the shuriken. Earth style, earth flow river, said Kakashi, turning the ground beneath Naruto to a muddy river, knocking him off his feet and sending him sliding away. Earth style, earth dragon bullet, Kakashi said while using a third jutsu, creating a dragon's head at the end of the mud river that unleashed a barrage of mud balls at Naruto, with the Uzumaki managing to use a substitution to escape the attack, before appearing behind Kakashi and going through hand signs. Wind style, great breakthrough, Naruto shouted, unleashing a massive blast of wind that sent Kakashi crashing into a tree, only for the Jonin to disperse into a puff of smoke. Very good, but you forgot one very important lesson. Never let your opponent get behind you, Kakashi said, appearing crouched behind Naruto with a hand sign, with the Uzumaki tensing at his sudden appearance. Leaf Village Secret Finger Jutsu, 1,000 Years of Death, said Kakashi while thrusting his fingers up into Naruto's backside, only to be shocked when Naruto suddenly glowed brightly before exploding, the copy ninja only barely managing to escape the blast, not expecting him to know clone great explosion. Looking around for where Naruto was, Kakashi frowned when he didn't see him, Hinata or Satsuki anywhere. Where did they go? Kakashi thought, wondering where they went. Asterisk with Naruto, Satsuki, and Hinata asterisk. Meanwhile, Naruto had grabbed Satsuki and Hinata while his clones kept Kakashi busy, only to freeze and shiver as he got the memories from his last clone. Are you alright, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked upon seeing his expression. Yeah, I'm fine, Hinata. Just getting another reason to kick Kakashi's ass, replied Naruto, swearing to make the Jonin pay for trying to do that, and thankful it was just his clone. Well, good luck trying to get close. We could barely lay a finger on him. Even when it looked like we had the advantage, he just came back and took us down, Satsuki said while crossing her arms in annoyance. Kakashi-sensei is pretty strong, as well as being an experienced elite Jonin and former Anbu captain. So it's not really all that surprising, he was able to figure out our techniques and plans rather quickly, added Hinata, worried they'll fail the test and be sent back to the academy. Maybe, but we did try attacking him separately, though what if we attacked him together? Naruto said, since separately they were able to do pretty good against Kakashi, together they may be able to get the bells. Satsuki and Hinata looked at him, not sure if that'd work either, but they also didn't have many options left. Do you have a plan? Questioned Satsuki, knowing they couldn't just charge in recklessly, with Naruto nodding with a smirk, having gotten an idea after seeing Kakashi fight each of them. With Kakashi. Time's almost up. I wonder if they're just calling it quits, thought Kakashi, seeing that time was almost up and none of the genin have made another attempt at taking the bells, making the Jonin sigh thinking another team was going to fail. Fire style, Crimson Earth Spider, Satsuki shouted, jumping out and releasing a wave of flames that surrounded Kakashi in a circle of fire, effectively trapping him before it also formed into a large spider made of flames that rushed towards the Jonin. The sight surprising Kakashi before he quickly jumped away from the spider and tried jumping out of the ring of fire, only for the flames to surge up and block him, with the spider continuing to chase after him, forcing Kakashi to keep moving to avoid getting hit. Wind style, air bullets, said Naruto, jumping out and releasing multiple air bullets at Kakashi, forcing him to dodge the air bullets and the fire spider, with the air bullets only making the flames stronger and bigger. Satsuki then leapt into the air, pulling out several shuriken and threw them at Kakashi before going through hand signs. Fire style, Phoenix Sage Flower Nail Crimson, Satsuki said, infusing fire chakra into the shuriken and making them even stronger. Wind style, Gale Palm, said Naruto, releasing a powerful gale at the shurikens, sending them flying at Kakashi at high speeds and making the fire more powerful, resulting in Kakashi being unable to dodge all the shuriken, grunting in pain when a few cut into his body, inflicting burns as they did so, with the fire spider slamming into Kakashi's back and exploding, dealing even more damage to the Jonin. Yeesh, when I said come at me with the intent to kill, I didn't mean literally try to kill me, Kakashi thought while getting up and seeing that his clothes were burned and torn, though didn't have time to catch himself when suddenly dozens of Naruto's shadow clones jumped out from the trees and surrounded him. The sight making Kakashi's eyes widen before he began dodging and deflecting the attacks, while striking the clones hard enough to dispel them, squinting his eye when the amount of smoke began obstructing his vision, only to grunt in pain when he was suddenly struck in his arm, feeling his arm start to go numb. Hinata thought Kakashi, seeing the smoke cloud, was a diversion to let Hinata get in close and hit him with a lightning chakra. Acting fast, Kakashi leapt out of the cloud of smoke and went through hand signs. Lightning style, lightning beast tracking fang, Kakashi said, creating a hound of lightning and sent into the smoke cloud, destroying the remaining clones and hopefully electrocuting Hinata to take her out. Spotting Naruto and Satsuki, Kakashi quickly shunshined between them, delivering a kick to Naruto's head, knocking him back before blocking Satsuki when she tried striking him with a kunai. Twisting the Uchiha's wrist and grabbing the kunai before pinning her to the ground with the kunai at the back of her neck. Looking, Kakashi saw the smoke cleared, revealing Hinata lying on the ground, unconscious from his lightning beast. Well, now that was certainly a good plan you three had. But now what will you do? One of your teammates is unconscious and the other is captured. What's your next move? Kakashi said, looking at Naruto while wondering what he'll do to get out of this, only to see the Uzumaki smirk. You're under the impression that was our entire plan, stated Naruto before dispersing in a cloud of smoke, revealing it was a shadow clone, much to Kakashi's surprise. Fire style, hiding in ash jutsu, Satsuki said before blowing out a large amount of fire chakra-infused ash, forcing Kakashi to jump back when the ash started burning him, only to be further surprised when he felt his body going numb again, making him move more slowly, with Satsuki rushing him and striking him several times in his tenketsu. What? Kakashi thought in shock, not knowing what was happening before Naruto appeared behind him. Wind style, flower scattering dance, said Naruto, creating a cyclone of petals that slammed right into Kakashi, sending him flying through the air, the Jonin's eyes widening in disbelief when a second Naruto appeared above him. Beast wave gale palm, Naruto shouted, condensing a massive amount of wind chakra into a giant demonic-like claw that slammed right into Kakashi, sending him crashing right back down to the ground. Bahade groaning as he stood up, seeing both Naruto's and Satsuki standing beside each other, before Satsuki was covered in a cloud of smoke revealing Hinata, while the first Naruto was revealed to be Satsuki, with Kakashi looking only to see who he thought was Hinata was just a transformed shadow clone. How? Kakashi asked in disbelief, as the three genin smirked. We knew we couldn't beat you in a straight fight, so instead we just tricked you, Naruto said. Naruto and I attacked first, making sure your attention was on us, before then sending all those clones after you, continued Satsuki. Which I was among transformed to look like Naruto-kun. And while you were destroying them and creating all that smoke, I was able to get in close enough to try and paralyze you, only to switch with another clone transformed to look like me, Hinata said. Then once you escaped and destroyed the clones, Hinata and Satsuki switched places. Given you'd start taking us more seriously, you'd start holding back less. And once she had an opening, she'd distract with a hiding in ash jutsu to seal some of your tenketsu, said Naruto. Once that was done, I would show up transformed as Naruto to attack you again, while keeping you guessing as to who's who after me and Hinata switched places, Satsuki said. And then Naruto-kun would come in and finish you at the end, said Hinata, concluding their plan, with Kakashi looking at them in surprise before hearing the timer go off. Well, it was certainly a good plan, but it looks like you still failed to get the Kakashi said, only to hear a jingle, looking to see Naruto holding the bells in his hand. The bells? I swiped them after hitting you with my beast wave gale palm, said Naruto with a smirk, much to Kakashi's disbelief that they actually got the bells. And what will you do with the second one? Questioned Kakashi, as while they did work together, now he needed to see if they'll stick together. Only to be surprised again when Naruto handed them both to Satsuki and Hinata, who turned simply threw them back at the Jonin. We each got a bell, Naruto stated, knowing they each had a bell, even if they didn't keep them. We aren't going to choose if one of us goes back to the academy, said Hinata, since the three refused to choose one of their friends over another. So, you can either pass us all for getting the bells or fail us all for not keeping them. All or nothing, take it or leave it. Satsuki concluded, with Kakashi looking at them all in disbelief before looking at the bells in his hand. If that's the case, then there's only one thing I can do, said Kakashi before looking back up at them with an eye smile. Congratulations on passing, Team 7, Kakashi said, making the three genin smile at having succeeded in passing the test. You three are the first team to pass the test. The true purpose of it isn't to get a bell, but to work together as a team. You three succeeded in not just that, but sticking together at the end, even if it meant you'd all failed. And that's what really matters in the end, sticking by each other's side and looking out for your teammates. A friend of mine once told me this. Those who break the rules are trash. That may be true, but those who abandon their friends are worse than trash, said Kakashi, with the trio nodding at the words, understanding what they meant. Now then, I'll inform the Hokage of you passing the test, while you three can celebrate officially becoming genin and a team, Kakashi said before sunshining away to tell the Hokage they managed to pass his test. With Naruto, Satsuki and Hinata smiling at each other, happy that they passed the test and were now officially genin, before the trio left the training ground to go celebrate. After arriving at the Hokage's office, Kakashi gave his report on his team passing, along with how they were able to pass the bell test. With the Sandaime listening intently to all the details and the abilities Naruto, Satsuki and Hinata had shown. I'm impressed, Kakashi. You finally were able to pass a team that realized the true purpose behind the test. Though I'm not surprised, with the friendship Naruto and Satsuki have, along with the friendship they've developed with Hinata over the past week and the synergy they gained from training together, I had a feeling they'd be able to pass, said Hiruzen, with the jonin nodding since from what he'd seen, the three definitely already some good teamwork and were able to play off each other's abilities. They're definitely a good team, Hokage-sama, and I'm sure they'll only grow better with training and missions, especially if they've been able to improve this much in just a week, Kakashi stated, given how Naruto was originally the dead last and Hinata couldn't even hurt a fly. Even Satsuki's improved more with the jutsu she's learned. So, who'll be the other sensei assisting me in training them? Questioned Kakashi, wondering who the Hokage's having help him in training his team, only to get an answer when a familiar Anbu appeared beside him. I'm sure you're familiar with Tenzo. Given how both of you worked together on Team Ro, it'll make it so you both will have good teamwork out on missions, as well as being able to counterbalance each other, Sabotage said, knowing Kakashi's laid-back personality and Tenzo's more serious nature will be good counterbalancing the two. Understood, Hokage-sama. I'll do my best in assisting Kakashi-senpai in training Team 7. It'll be an honor to work with you again, senpai, Tenzo said while bowing to the Hokage and nodding to Kakashi, who waved it off. Mama, Tenzo. I'm not your superior anymore, just Kakashi is fine, said Kakashi while also understanding the Hokage's reason for choosing Tenzo. One more thing, remove your mask, Tenzo. From now on your name will be Yamato, said Sabotage, surprising the two before Tenzo, or Yamato now, nodded and removed his mask. And regarding your special talents, avoid using them at all costs. Only do so unless there's absolutely no other choice, Sabotage ordered, with Kakashi and Yamato now understand the other reason the latter was chosen. Given with the changes Naruto's gone through and the loss of trust he has for the Hokage, it'd be better if it didn't seem like an Anbu was chosen to act as a second teacher just to potentially observe the Uzumaki. Even worse if he learned the same Anbu was capable of using Mokuton, one of the few things able to restrain the Kyuubi and Naruto himself should he go berserk, which is more so a precaution Sabotage is taking, just to be safe should someone actively try antagonizing Naruto to the point he'll tap into the Kyuubi's chakra. Something Kakashi and Yamato both understood before taking their leave so they could prepare to meet with their team tomorrow, with Naruto, Satsuki, and Hinata. Meanwhile, Naruto, Satsuki, and Hinata had gone to Ramen Ikaraku to celebrate them passing the genin test. That was a really great plan you thought of, Naruto. I was a little doubtful with some parts, but it went pretty well, Satsuki said, impressed that Naruto's plan really worked, knowing there was a lot of room for mistakes. Yeah, I don't think we would have been able to pass otherwise, added Hinata while smiling at her friend crush. Thanks, but you both helped a lot at the end and any plan would have been useless without good teammates to initiate it with," replied Naruto, knowing Satsuki and Hinata helped make sure the plan went smoothly. "Well, I think all three of you did a really great job in passing and becoming genin," I said while smiling at three, happy that they passed and were now an official team. "I right, just be proud of all the hard work you've done to get this far. How's the food, by the way?" Tuchai asked while looking at Satsuki and Hinata, with the Uchiha eating omusubai with okaka and tomatoes as a side, while the Hyuga having cinnamon rolls. "It's really great, thank you for making them, Tuchai." Hinata replied while happily eating the cinnamon rolls, with Satsuki nodding in agreement while eating her own food. "Yeah, they're really delicious," Satsuki added, since while they didn't mind ramen, they liked being able to eat their favorite foods as well. "Ha ha ha ha. I'm glad you like it, and I should be thanking you both, since now we've been getting even more customers with the expanded menu," said Tuchai, having added omusubai and cinnamon rolls to the menu since the trio had been coming here the past week and learning what Satsuki and Hinata both liked to eat. "It's definitely helping attract more people with a wider variety to choose from. Though, it's still really surprising to see someone actually eat more food than Naruto," stated while looking at Hinata in surprise, since she's already on her 6th plate of cinnamon rolls, while Naruto's just started on his 5th bowl of ramen. I just really like cinnamon rolls and the ramen is really great as well," said Hinata while blushing lightly, given how she was able to out-eat Naruto before with ramen, something that surprised them all when they saw it. "Where does it all go?" Naruto and Satsuki thought while looking at Hinata, wondering where it all went for her before they glanced at her figure and chest, making Naruto look away in embarrassment at where his thoughts were going, while Satsuki's eye twitched in annoyance while looking at Hinata's chest, remembering the few times Hinata took her jacket off during training, showing that she already had around D-cup melons compared to Satsuki's being around C-cup. "How are they so big?" thought Satsuki jealously before going back to her omusubai. "Well, we certainly don't mind. Eat as much as you like. Even better if you three keep coming back here on more of your dates," Tuchai said with a smirk to the three, making the genin blush at his words. "This isn't a date," Naruto stuttered, with Satsuki and Hinata quickly nodding in agreement. "We never said you were already on a date, just that you three should come back for your other dates. Unless you want this to be a date, Naruto," said teasingly, which only made their blushes intensify. "We're just friends," said Naruto. "Yeah, we're just FR friends," Satsuki added, though mentally added, "for now," while hoping to change that one day. "And we're simply celebrating becoming a T-team," said Hinata, while having similar thoughts to Satsuki, with Tuchai laughing lightly at their reactions, while giggled and smiled at the trio. "Of course, just friends. But if that's the case," said before suddenly leaning over and kissing Naruto on the cheek, causing his entire face to turn red while Satsuki and Hinata narrowed their eyes. "Consider that a reward for my handsome little brother becoming a genin," said silently admitting that Naruto's recent change did make him look handsome, having been surprised at first, but now couldn't help but admire his appearance. "Could I get some more cinnamon rolls?" Hinata asked. "And can I get more omusubai?" said Satsuki, both of the girls simply wanting to get away from Naruto. "Sure, coming right up," Tuchai said as he and went to go prepare more plates, the brunette giving both girls a smirk before going into the back of the stand. "So, using lightning chakra with your Jukin was pretty cool, Hinata," Naruto said after willing his blush to go away, making the brunette smile at him. "Thank you, Naruto-kun. It's something I've been working on since we started training, incorporating elemental chakra into my Jukin to try and inject my chakra into a person. So rather than just closing their tenketsu, I could temporarily paralyze them if I used lightning chakra or burn them if I use fire chakra. Though it still needs some work before it can be really effective," said Hinata, impressing Naruto and Satsuki. "That's pretty good, making your taijutsu style even stronger with new effects. And even if you can't strike a person's tenketsu, the elemental chakra covering your palms will still be able to get them," Satsuki stated, with Hinata nodding in agreement. "That'd be something good for all of us to learn, incorporating ninjutsu into our taijutsu," giving us an edge against any taijutsu specialists we face and some surprises to use," said Naruto, knowing how useful it'd be to combine their ninjutsu and taijutsu, something Satsuki and Hinata agreed with. The three continued making small talk, along with trading ideas on ways to improve their training before they eventually finished eating, with them splitting the bill between each other before they all went their separate ways. With Hinata returning to the Hyuga compound, where she was greeted by a branch member the moment she walked inside. "Hinata-sama, Hayashi-sama wishes to speak with you in his study," said the branch member with a bow, making Hinata frown slightly that her father wanted to see her right after she got back. "Okay, I'll be there shortly, thank you for telling me," Hinata replied before heading to her father's study to see what he wanted to speak to her about. Not seeing her sister, Hanabi Hyuga, looking at her from around a corner, with the brunette watching her sister with narrowed eyes. Having seen her around the village with Satsuki Uchiha and that boy that Natsu told her to stay away from, not to mention Kanoka Sartobi, having seen her with the other young girl and how Kanoka refers to her and Satsuki as her big sisters. She already had me replace her as clan heiress, now she's just replacing me as her sister too, Hanabi thought bitterly, since despite the disillusionment she's developed for her sister, Hanabi still felt angry and sad that Hinata seemingly replaced her. Who cares? If she wants a new sister then fine. She can get one, I don't care, Hanabi thought, though she had a downcast expression as she went to return to her training and studies as clan heiress. Meanwhile, Hinata had arrived at her father's study, finding her father, Hayashi Hyuga, already inside and waiting for her. "You wished to speak with me too, Sama?" Hinata said formally and respectively, while her expression remained neutral rather than looking nervous like she usually would when speaking with her father. Given her time spent with Naruto, Satsuki, and Kanoka, who all encouraged her kind nature and helped her grow as a kunoichi, Hinata had started growing rather distant from the rest of her clan, who only viewed her as a weakling and disgrace because of her kindness. "I had heard you passed your genin test, as well as that your jonin instructor is Kakashi Hadake. You've done well in passing and getting the chance to train under such a renowned ninja," said Hayashi, not noticing his daughter's change in demeanor, merely focusing on what he wanted to talk to her about. "I'm sure Kakashi-sensei will have much to teach me, Satsuki and Naruto-kun," stated Hinata, making the Hyuga clan head nod with frown. "Yes, I also heard you were placed on the same team as Uzumaki, which is rather concerning, given his reputation with the rest of the village, combined now with his recent change in appearance and personality," Hayashi stated, causing Hinata to frown, not liking the way he was talking about her friend crush. "Naruto-kun doesn't care what the rest of the village thinks of him, and neither do I or Satsuki. He's our friend and teammate, so we'll stand alongside him," Hinata said, making Hayashi's frown deepen, not expecting his daughter to actually argue against him. And how would such actions reflect on the rest of the Hyuga clan? That one our own would choose to interact with a known troublemaker and delinquent. It would be better if you limited interactions with a boy to only official business and nothing more. Even better if you were on a different team entirely," said Hayashi, with the brunette gripping her pants tightly. "I didn't think the rest of the clan would care who I interacted with. Not that it'd be any of their business on who I choose to be friends, nor the business of the rest of the village. And I chose to be Naruto-kun's friend, whether you and the rest of the clan like it or not. As for limiting my interactions with him, I'll spend as much time with Naruto-kun as I want. Even if we weren't teammates I still would, because he's my friend just like Satsuki," retorted Hinata, now surprising Hayashi that she's now fully going against what he's saying and telling her. "Regardless, I will be speaking to the Hokage about having you or Uzumaki moved to a different team. I am still head of the Hyuga clan, and you shall do as you're instructed, Hinata, and I am forbidding any further interactions with Naruto Uzumaki, and that is final," Hayashi said in a tone of finality before went to stand up and leave, believing that was the end of things. "No!" shouted Hinata while shooting up to her feet and finally exploding at her father, much to Hayashi's surprise at her outburst, even more so that she was now glaring at him. "You don't get to decide who I spend my time with nor who I get to be friends with. Not after you've spent my entire life looking down on me, just because I choose to be kind instead of being cold and heartless like the rest of this damn clan. I'm seen as weak, a coward, and a disgrace just because I'm kind like Kasan was," Now that I'm finally starting to improve like you always wanted me to, you're trying to take me away from my friends? If you want to choose the image of this clan over your own daughter's happiness, then fine. I'll leave so you don't have to choose, not that you seem to even care anyway. Hinata yelled before she was about to storm out of the room. Hinata, I am your father and clan head, and I am ordering you to stop, said Hayashi while standing up and looking at her with a warning expression, only for the brunette glare at him again. I'm a genin, in case you just forgot Tusama, that makes me a legal adult, and if I want to move out of the compound, I can. You can't tell me what to do anymore, Hinata retorted before turning back to the door to leave. If you leave, you will no longer be part of the Hyuga clan, Hayashi threatened, making Hinata actually stop, the girl being shocked at this and causing her to pause. Only to look over her shoulder at Hayashi with narrowed eyes and her Byakugan activating. I'm already treated as an outsider by all of you, what difference will it make? Said Hinata coldly before exiting the room and slamming the door behind her, with Hayashi collapsing in his seat in disbelief. He'd thought that would be enough to back down, to accept his decisions if she was kicked out of the Hyuga clan. Instead, Hinata actually chose to be kicked out of the Hyuga clan and had just left to make it official. What did I do? Thought Hayashi as it really began sinking in that he's losing his daughter before he felt eyes on him. Looking, Hayashi flinched as he looked at a portrait of his late wife, with it now looking as if she was glaring daggers at him for what he just did. With Hinata. Meanwhile, Hinata was packing away all her belongings and sealing them away in some storage scrolls, with the brunette stopping at some scrolls that she made containing copies of various Hyuga clan techniques that she'd made to practice and learn with. But as she's no longer a member of the Hyuga clan, she wasn't sure about trying to learn them. No, I will learn them, and I'll make them even better, thought Hinata before sealing the scrolls away, now wanting to learn, master, and improve them simply out of spite to the Hyuga clan, to show them what the failure can do. Once she had everything packed and sealed away, Hinata left the compound and headed for Satsuki's apartment, with her soon arriving and knocking at the door with it opening after a few moments, with Satsuki being shocked to see Hinata. Hinata? What are you doing here? Satsuki asked in confusion at what she's doing here so late. I got into a fight with Hayashi Hyuga. He didn't like that I was friends with Naruto-kun or that we were on the same team. He was going to talk to the Hokage to try and have one of us put on a different team, but I wasn't going to let him. Then, I planned to leave the compound only for him to threaten to kick me out of the Hyuga clan if I left, and I did, said Hinata with her anger starting to give way to sadness and hurt, while not sure if she should still even call Hayashi her father, with the Ravenet being shocked at hearing this before frowning and letting Hinata inside. If you need a place to stay, then you're always welcome here and can stay for as long as you like, said Satsuki, refusing to leave her friend with nowhere to stay or go. Thank you, Hinata said, entering the apartment with Satsuki wrapping an arm around the now disowned Hyuga and guiding her inside. With Naruto. Naruto, meanwhile, was out training under the moon, having always felt more energetic at night ever since her merged with Zen-Aku, with the Uzumaki currently working on improving his wind-style ninjutsu. Wind-style, spiraling wind ball, said Naruto before breathing wind chakra into his hand, forming a small whirlwind-like ball, which he then launched a tree, with the ball smashing right through the tree, along with several others before eventually dispersing, making Naruto smirk at how powerful his wind-style ninjutsu has gotten. I should start working on another element, so I'll have a better variety of elemental ninjutsu to use, thought Naruto, knowing his wind-style ninjutsu is good for the time being and he should start on another element. Thinking about it, the former blonde decided to start learning fire-style and water-style ninjutsu, knowing this would be good elements to learn next, especially if Satsuki or Hinata aren't around to do collaboration wind-style and fire-style ninjutsu. And I'm sure I can think of some good combinations for wind-style and water-style ninjutsu as well. Even better that it'd be good for offense and defense, thought Naruto, nodding at knowing which elements he'll be working on next before creating 20 shadow clones to get started. Time skip one day. The next day, Naruto headed for Training Ground 7 where he saw that Satsuki and Hinata were already waiting for him, only for the Uzumaki to notice Hinata's expression. Is something wrong, Hinata? Naruto asked in concern for his friend, seeing she looked upset and sad. I'm fine, Naruto-kun, replied Hinata, only for Naruto to not look convinced and turn to Satsuki. Hinata got into a fight with her father and things were said, with him being upset that you two were on the same team. With him even planning to talk to the Hokage about having one of you move to a different team, but Hinata wasn't going to let that happen. And when she tried leaving, he threatened to kick her out of the Hyuga clan, only for Hinata to leave despite the threat, before coming to my apartment last night. Satsuki said, making Naruto scowl at hearing this. He did what? Exclaimed Naruto, angry that Hinata was kicked out of her clan simply because she's his teammate and friend. While he no longer cared what the villagers thought of him, if they messed with someone he cared about, then Naruto was going to make them regret it. Naruto-kun, it's fine, really. You don't have to do anything, and I don't want you getting into trouble because of me, Hinata said, making Naruto frown before reluctantly nodding. Fine, the asshole probably isn't worth it anyway if he's willing to disown his own daughter, said Naruto, making Hinata nod in thanks, glad he wouldn't do anything that'd get him in trouble. Before their attention turned to Yamato when he arrived at the training ground, now wearing a standard Jonin uniform along with a Happiri-style forehead protector. The sight of the Jonin arriving confusing them. Are you lost or something, sir? Satsuki asked, wondering if he's looking for another training ground. Or did you reserve this training ground for yourself? Questioned Hinata, with Yamato shaking his head. No, I'm where I'm supposed to be and I didn't reserve this training ground. My name is Yamato and I will be your assistant sensei alongside Kakashi senpai, Yamato revealed, much to their surprise. Assistant sensei? Asked Naruto, not expecting them to have a second teacher. That's right. I was chosen to help Kakashi senpai train you three, given he doesn't have any experience in training genin, while both of us have gone on plenty of missions together when we were both in the Anbu, so we know how to work together and each other's fighting styles. So I've been assigned to assist in your training, said Yamato, making the three genin nod slowly as that'd make sense. Okay, then what's first, Yamato-sensei? Satsuki asked while wondering if they'd be starting training while they wait for Kakashi to arrive, not doubting he's going to be late again. What's first is that I'm going to spar against each of you, one at a time. Kakashi-senpai has already informed me of what you three are capable from your genin test, but I want to see personally what you can do. There's no need to go all out. This is just to give me a chance to see where you three are right now, said Yamato, while knowing he'll have to limit himself to his water-style ninjutsu, earth-style ninjutsu, non-elemental ninjutsu, and taijutsu. Nodding at this, the three looked between each other before Naruto stepped forward first, with him and Yamato standing across from each other before the two charged at one another. Later. They're certainly more advanced than I was expecting, thought Yamato after he finished sparring against the genin, pleased to see how far they've already come and the skills they have, knowing it'll save time in teaching them a lot of things. And after the sparring, he also saw what they can do outside of combat, while being surprised that they were already capable of doing surface walking, water walking, and being able to keep multiple leaves stuck to their bodies with leaf concentration. Surprised, but also pleased by this development as that'll save even more time. You three are indeed skilled with what you can do already, and it looks like you have learned everything most new genin would learn in the beginning, so we can see about moving on to something a little more advanced, Yamato said before pulling out 3 pieces of chakra paper, as while they wouldn't be learning the exercises to master their elemental affinities yet, it'd help in knowing them so that he knows what ninjutsu are best suited for the trio. This is called chakra paper. It's used to help ninja learn their elemental affinities, whether it's earth, water, fire, wind, or lightning. If it turns to dirt, it's earth. If it gets wet, it's water. If it turns to ash, it's fire, while wind will cut it in half, and lightning will cause it to crumple up. Go ahead and channel chakra into them to see what you three have, Yamato said while handing the paper to each of them. Channeling chakra into the paper, Satsuki and Hinata watched as theirs both crumbled up before bursting into flames, while they saw Naruto's was cut in half, showing he had a wind affinity. Possessing 2 affinities is rather rare, while having a wind affinity in the land of fire is even rarer, Yamato stated, knowing that only 3 other people who had a wind affinity in Konoha, with them consisting of Asuma Saratobi, Danzo Shimura, and the snake Sannin Orochimaru, all of whom were powerful and dangerous ninja. I can let you use the scrolls on the lightning-style ninjutsu I have Satsuki, Hinata offered while seeing they both had the same elements. I also have some more you both can use as well, said Naruto, still having several ninjutsu scrolls he got from the temple they can practice. Thanks, that'll really help, Satsuki replied, eager to learn some lightning-style ninjutsu after seeing Hinata and Kakashi use it, with how powerful it can be. No problem, though I'm also planning to learn fire-style ninjutsu and water-style ninjutsu to expand my arsenal, as well as wishing to study fuinjutsu and kenjutsu, Naruto said after seeing that with his wind affinity, his wind-style ninjutsu would naturally be stronger, so he'll need to get started on learning fire-style and water-style sooner rather than later, as well as wishing to study fuinjutsu in honor of his clan and kenjutsu due to him merging with Zen-Aku, though he wasn't sure if he'll have the crescent blade reforged or commission his own unique blade to differentiate himself from his predecessor. I'm also still hoping to learn water-style ninjutsu as well, stated Hinata, also wanting to keep learning water-style ninjutsu. I don't see any problem with that, and I'll be able to help you both get started on learning water-style ninjutsu, since it'll help you develop a secondary affinity Naruto. Plus, a tertiary affinity would also be good to have as well. Though keep in mind that it won't be easy to learn and master multiple elemental affinities. Some of the strongest ninja in the world have mastery over all 5 nature transformations, and it took them years if not decades to master them. As for kenjutsu and fuinjutsu, Kakashi-senpai and I should be able to help with that since we're experienced in both arts, along with seeing if we can bring in a former teammate of ours and her fiancé in the help with the former, Yamato said, knowing it'll take them a long time to master different elements. With the genin being shocked at hearing this, that some ninja mastered all 5 elements, though this didn't deter them and simply gave them a goal to work towards. While Naruto couldn't but smile at how his kenjutsu and fuinjutsu training was pretty much covered. Once that was done, the team began training with Satsuki and Hinata helping Naruto in learning some fire-style ninjutsu, Hinata helping Satsuki with her lightning-style ninjutsu, and Yamato helping Naruto and Hinata in learning water-style ninjutsu, with Satsuki also asking Naruto to teach her some wind-style ninjutsu, knowing it'd go great with her fire-style ninjutsu, with Yamato telling Naruto that they'll get started on his fuinjutsu and kenjutsu training tomorrow. After 3 hours had passed, Kakashi had finally arrived while getting their attention. "You're late, senpai, again," Yamato said in annoyance, but without any bit since he had grown used to Kakashi's habits and knows he'll be on time if anything actually important comes up. "Sorry, I had to help an old lady cross the street but had to take the long way when a black crossed our path. And I see you all got started on training without me," said Kakashi while seeing their already training. "Yes, we sparred so I could get a feel for their skills personally, along with what they can do outside of combat. I also tested their elemental affinities to see what they have," revealed Yamato, with the copy ninja nodding at this as Yamato began filling him in on their training while being intrigued by Naruto's wish to learn kenjutsu and fuinjutsu. "Hey Hinata, could your Byakugan see past Kakashi-sensei's mask?" Naruto asked, having been getting curious on what Kakashi looked like under his mask, with Satsuki looking at her as well, also curious. "I can try," Hinata replied before activating her Byakugan and looking at Kakashi only to frown in confusion when she couldn't see past his mask. Instead, all she saw were seals lining the mask, making her sigh and shake her head. "I can't see past it. There are seals on Sensei's mask that are even blocking the Byakugan," said Hinata, much to their disappointment and annoyance, though it did show Naruto that he made the right choice in asking for Yamato and Kakashi to train him in fuinjutsu. "Sorry, my nosy little genin, but it's not that easy," Kakashi said from behind them, having heard what they were trying to do and had already taken such precautions that his mask couldn't be seen through. "Now then, since you've all had some individual training, let's get started on team training so you all can better work together and cover each other's weaknesses. After that, we'll see about getting our first mission," Kakashi said, making the 3 smile in excitement at getting to do their first mission, none of them having any idea what they were really in for. Later. "Do you have eyes on the target?" Kakashi asked over the radio. "Yeah, I see it," said Naruto while seeing their target. I'm in position to capture. Hinata added, ready to and get the target. We're ready to move in to get them. Satsuki stated, waiting for them to get the signal to move. Don't move just yet, otherwise we risk losing the target, warned Yamato, knowing a single mistake could end terribly. Move on my word. 3, 2, 1 now, said Kakashi, causing Naruto, Satsuki, and Hinata to jump out at their target. Got it, Satsuki said, grabbing hold of the target before it could react, only to flinch when she was scratched across her arm, letting the target escape. Hang on, please don't eep, said Hinata, trying to get the target to calm down, only to get cut across her face in response. Not so fast, you little bastard, Naruto said, stomping down on the target's tail and grabbing them by their neck, revealing a brown cat with a red ribbon in its right ear. Ha, finally caught you, little F, said Naruto when the cat hissed and began scratching him furiously. Can you confirm we have the target? Said Kakashi, with the genin practically hearing the smirk on his face. Yes, we can confirm the demon from hell is captured, Satsuki retorted, scowling at the cat. It has a ribbon in the right ear, it's Tora, said Hinata while frowning and rubbing the scratch marks on her face, with Kakashi and Yamato. Ah ha 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 ha, that never gets old, Kakashi said, enjoying the reactions from his students that their first mission was a D rank. Even worse, it was capturing Tora. It is rather enjoyable, admitted Yamato with a small smirk, having heard how genin hate Tora with how many times she escapes from Madame Shijimi. Fu Kakashi and Fu2 Yamato, how about I tie you down and dump catnip over you both? Then we'll see who's laughing then, you MFS, Naruto shouted over the radio, being loud enough to actually tip the two over. What? Said Kakashi, only hearing a ringing in his ear. Later, Hokage's office. Oh my darling Tora, you're back, Madame Shijimi said while hugging Tora tightly, with the cat crying in misery at being returned to her overly affectionate owner. Yeah, that's right. Cry, cry, you little shit, cry and suffer, Naruto thought sadistically, enjoying the sight of Tora's misery. Come on, squeeze it just a little more, Satsuki thought, while reveling in Tora's suffering. Revenge, thought Hinata, while simply watching the sight with an unnervingly calm smile on her face. The three not taking their eyes off Tora being squeezed as Madame Shijimi paid for the completed mission before taking her leave. Thanks for that, Kakashi-sensei. Yamato-sensei, I'd nearly forgotten why I wanted to become a ninja in the first place. It was to find cats for fat old ladies, Naruto said sarcastically, while waiting until Madame Shijimi was out of earshot since she is still the fire daimyo's wife. Why are these missions even necessary? These are basically just odd jobs that anyone can do, so why do we have to? Naruto exclaimed in annoyance that they might as well be doing chores, something that Satsuki and Hinata had to agree with. Naruto's right, why do genin have to do these? Wouldn't it make more sense for academy students to be doing them? Satsuki asked, given how the only real danger was from that damn cat, while the rest were perfectly safe. It would give academy students some experience in completing missions and working together, which would help them when they do become genin, as well as earning some money they can use as well, added Hinata, thinking that it'd be better and let actual genin do real missions. It's something everyone wonders, Iruka said while chuckling at his former student's misfortune, given that while he also found it annoying and grating when he was a genin himself and had to deal with D ranks as well, he now found enjoyment in his former students now having to deal with them as well. But, unfortunately, they help run the economy and are so situated into the system that it'd take time to fully implement such changes, added Iruka, knowing D ranks have been around for so long it'd take time to suddenly change the mission system like that. Though I can see about having it done, as the idea does have some merit to it. For now, however, you do need to complete the required amount of D rank missions before you can move on to a C rank, Sir Tobai said, as the idea of having academy students gain experience and learn teamwork did sound good. With Team 7 being annoyed at this, but took solace they weren't the only ones who had to suffer through this, before they took another mission and left to go complete it, wanting to reach the required amount to start doing C-rank missions sooner rather than later. A month has passed since Team 7 was officially formed. Along with learning, they'd be having an assistant teacher in helping train them. as well as them having to do D-rank missions, something Naruto, Satsuki, and Hinata didn't like but still completed them. Knowing the other genin also had to do them, and that the more they did, the closer they'd get to getting their first C-rank mission. While with their training, the trio had come along very well and grown even stronger than they were before. With Satsuki having started training in Kenjutsu alongside Naruto, as well as taking up Kyujutsu again. Knowing how useful it is once she awakens her Sharingan, and being able to see her enemies' movements. While having gotten dual blades that can merge into a bow, making it a very deadly weapon. The Uchiha also began studying Genjutsu for when she awakens her Sharingan, wanting to be able to know how to cast them and break them when she does, as well as making progress in learning wind-style ninjutsu from Naruto. Hinata, meanwhile, had gotten started on learning medical ninjutsu, given how good her chakra control is, and Shuriken Jutsu. The brunette having taken particularly to using Senbon, which combined with her Byakugan and elemental affinities made for a very deadly combination. Along with studying the scrolls she took after leaving the Hyuga clan, looking them over and learning all the details of the techniques, testing them out, and then thinking of ways to improve them. The former heiress had also gotten help in her water-style ninjutsu from Yamato, as well as learning a few, and Naruto's training in Fuinjutsu and Kenjutsu had been coming along nicely, thanks to his Uzumaki heritage and Zen-Aku's memories, while having taken to use a regular katana until he could have a customized sword commissioned. Once he decides if he'll use the crescent blade or not. With him having also learned a few fire-style and water-style ninjutsu from Satsuki and Yamato respectively. The Uzumaki also began thinking of seal ideas to help improve their training, as well as their weapons. During this time they'd also been completing D-rank missions, willing to do as many they could each day to complete the required amount to get a C-rank mission. Currently, Team 7 was returning to the Hokage's office after having just finished another D-rank mission, feeling relieved as they knew that this was their last one. Well done Team 7, you've all certainly done your fair share of work this past month. Kakashi, Yamato, do you both believe they're ready for a C-rank? Sarutobi asked while looking at the Jonin, who both nodded in response. Yes Hokage-sama, I believe they're ready, replied Kakashi, knowing his students are ready for a C-rank mission. Agreed. They've certainly improved the past month and have shown good dedication on all their previous missions. Yamato added, as while they still complained every now and then about doing D-rank missions, they still completed them all perfectly. The Hokage nodded at this before having Iruka hand him a mission scroll, which he passed to Kakashi. Excellent, and we've just received a mission request from the Land of Canyons. A town there is being attacked by chakra mutants, and they've sent a request asking for help in dealing with them. Hiruzen said, with Team 7 being somewhat concerned at hearing this. As chakra mutants were dangerous breeds of animals and plants that had become mutated from overexposure to chakra and absorbing too much into them. The changes ranging from simply growing much larger than normal animals to mutating to look entirely different. With the one constant being they all become far deadlier and vicious. But that wouldn't be the only danger they'd be dealing with on this mission. Given that the Land of Canyons was between the Land of Earth and the newly named Land of Sound, though it was the former that was more of a concern. With how the Land of Sound and Hokage were still a relatively new power in the elemental nations, having recently requested to partake in the upcoming Chunin exams to help get a jumpstart on their mission income. Which was also a rather risky move for a relatively new village, since it could easily make or break them if they didn't put on a good enough performance for potential clients. Then again, the Land of Rice Fields is still home to plenty of ninja clans, all of them still being pretty powerful despite their power waning in recent years, thought Kakashi, knowing they could be surprised by any teams the Land of Sound sends, with Yamato having similar thoughts, knowing that while new, Hokage could surprise them. None of them knowing just how true that will be. Very well Hokage-sama, we'll set out right away, Kakashi said, accepting the mission before looking at his students. Meet us at the gate in an hour and come prepared for anything, said Kakashi, the genin nodding in response, knowing that chakra mutants were no joke and could easily kill them if they weren't prepared and careful. Not to mention potential encounters with any Iwa ninja and Oto ninja they may encounter later. After returning to their homes and sealed up everything they'd need for the mission, Naruto, Satsuki, and Hinata headed for the gates where they were greeted by Kakashi and Yamato, with the team immediately heading out once they'd all arrived, knowing it'll take them at least 2 days to reach the land of canyons, since they had to be careful when crossing the borders. Kakashi-sensei, Yamato-sensei, Takagakure is in the land of canyons, right? Hinata asked after a while, as she looked at the two jonin. That's right. Why do you ask? Said Yamato while looking at the brunette. I was just wondering why this mission request was sent to Konoha. Wouldn't it have made more sense for the client to send it to Taki, since a team would have arrived much sooner from there than one from Konoha? Said Hinata, figuring the client would want a team to arrive as quickly as possible to deal with the chakra mutants. Normally you'd be right, but Taki is only a minor village. While they do have ninja, they aren't on the same level as ones from one of the 5 great nations. Yamato replied, with the copy ninja nodding in agreement. Yamato's right, as it's not just because the 5 great nations have larger villages and military forces. It's also due to us having greater resources than the minor villages, as well as a better quality in terms of academies, ninja techniques, as well as more of a variety in ways to hone our skills. And while there are a few notable exceptions, they don't have the resources needed to train the same quality and quantity of ninja that Konoha, Suna, Kiri, Kumo, and Iwa do. Though Taki does borderline things, with them having been given the Nanabi by the Shodaime, granting them higher status. So it is possible that they did request a team from Taki as well, but the chakra mutants may have required them to call for backup just in case. Kakashi explained, with Naruto tensing slightly at the mention of the Nanabi. There's also how one of their missing nin has become revered as one of the most dangerous bounty hunters in not just the elemental nations, but has even begun building a reputation beyond it as well. Added Yamato, with the latter part catching the genin's attention. Beyond the elemental nations? Satsuki asked with a raised brow, having learned about other lands beyond the elemental nations in the academy, but only a few passing mentions. That's right. To the rest of the world, the elemental nations is known as the Shinobi continent. We've gotten the occasional visitor from the other lands, but for the most part, each land usually tends to stick to themselves, with some of them not even knowing what chakra is. So missing nin will sometimes travel to another continent to escape hunter nin and bounty hunters, since most don't want to bother chasing someone halfway across the planet. Replied Yamato, which only intrigued the genin at hearing this, curious about other lands beyond the elemental nations. Have mission requests ever come from the other continents? Naruto asked, intrigued at the chance to see other lands and what they're like. Sometimes, but they're incredibly rare and usually listed as either a rank or S rank, due to the unknown dangers that could be encountered. Kakashi answered, making the 3 nod, knowing they'd likely be dangerous missions only high-ranking ninja would be given. But that didn't stop them from wondering what it'd be like to see other lands as they continued on their way. Time skipped 2 days. After 2 days, Team 7 had finally arrived at the town that sent the mission request, having also got some training done during the time they took breaks and rested, with them having now arrived and were greeted by the leader of the town. You must be the Konoha team the Hokage sent. I'm relieved you've all made it here, said the leader while shaking Kakashi and Yamato's hands. We are as well, sir. Now what can you tell us about these chakra mutants? Kakashi asked, wanting to get all the information they can, especially with how different chakra mutants can be. Of course, the attacks started happening nearly 2 weeks ago. At the first they just show up and attack, but recently they've started stealing food, goods, and valuables, as well as demanding payment, a protection fee they call it, and anytime we don't pay they simply take anything they want, replied the leader, with Kakashi and Yamato looking at him with wide eyes. I'm sorry, but these are chakra mutants, right? Not bandits dressing up or anything, questioned Yamato, since that sounded nothing like chakra mutants. Of course it's not bandits. I've seen them myself. Giant mutant animals, some that look like humans. They've been causing nothing but trouble. It's a miracle they haven't simply destroyed the entire town. The leader said in annoyance that they thought he didn't know what was happening. Forgive my colleague, sir. It's just these chakra mutants sound nothing like ones we've encountered or heard of before. They sound more like humans that have been mutated into animals, Kakashi said, making the leader sigh and nod. Yes, forgive me, I just worry of what they'll do if they decide they want more than just money. It's not helped by the fact that the tacky team we'd previously hired seems to have failed in stopping them," said the leader, which got the ninja's attention. "There's a tacky team here as well?" Kakashi asked, knowing it'd be good to speak with them and see what they know. There was, but they had gone to deal with the chakra mutants several days ago, only for a single member to return just this morning. I can only assume the rest are either dead or they've been captured by the chakra mutants for who knows what purpose," replied the leader, making them frown at hearing this, that there's only a sole survivor of the tacky team, meaning these chakra mutants are really dangerous. "Would I be able to see them?" Hinata asked, wanting to see what she could to help the ninja. The leader nodded before guiding them to a clinic and taking them to a room where they saw the tacky ninja lying on the bed, seeing they were a kunoichi. With them being a petite, tan-skinned girl, the same age as Naruto, Satsuki, and Hinata, with an orange clip in her short, layered mint green hair. Her outfit consisted of a short sleeveless white midriff shirt with fishnet armor underneath, long white armlets, and fishnet shorts with a short white apron skirt over it. Her forehead protector was worn on her right arm. There was also a red cylindrical object on the floor beside the bed with red wrappings on it, likely something she carried on her back. She's already started healing, thought Naruto, intrigued at seeing the girl's injuries were already healing themselves, just being shy of his own healing factor. With Hinata going over to her side to quicken the process with her medical ninjutsu, while using her Byakugan to see if she had any internal injuries that needed attention. "Then you should already know who she is, Runt. She's like you, the Jinchuriki that contains the Nanabi within her," revealed Kyuubi, much to Naruto's shock and intrigue that he's now seeing another Jinchuriki. It wasn't long before the girl began regaining consciousness, opening her eyes to show they were an orange color with no pupils. The kunoichi groaned as she rubbed her head and sat up. "Ugh, what happened?" the girl muttered, having trouble remembering what happened exactly. "That's what we'd like to know, as well as if you have any information you have on the chakra mutants," said Kakashi, causing the girl to tense before she looked at them in shock and a little wariness at being surrounded by Konoha ninja rather than her own teammates. "What are you, oh damn it?" the girl said, looking down as she remembered exactly what had happened, taking a moment to mourn her now dead team. Even if they were more or less just Jonin sent to keep an eye on her, while making sure she didn't try running away or anything like that. "Yes, we're sorry for what happened to your teammates, but we were hoping you could tell us what happened. Along with anything you can share about the chakra mutants, how many there are, what they can do, anything that could help us deal with them," said Yamato, making the girl look at them before she got off the bed, while strapping her cylinder container to her back as she did so. "Well, for starters, they definitely aren't chakra mutants. We tracked them to an abandoned hideout, learning they were actually failed experiments of Orochimaru. I don't know how many there are exactly. As for what they can do, they all have abilities of whatever animal they look like, along with some other nasty surprises," revealed the girl, much to their shock that they weren't dealing with chakra mutants, but failed experiments of Orochimaru. "Damn, I didn't think Orochimaru would be involved. They must have been imprisoned in an abandoned hideout. Only it seems like they managed to escape," thought Yamato, knowing this mission just got a lot harder. This definitely complicates things. Even if they're failed experiments, anything connected to Orochimaru is dangerous and not something to be underestimated. "It'd be best if I sent a message to the Hokage for backup," Kakashi thought, not wanting to take any chances now that Orochimaru's involved. Especially since they can't turn back now that they're already here, otherwise it'd send a bad message that Konoha would pull back on completing a mission halfway through. Naruto sent out at least 24 shadow clones to patrol the village and go out to search for where the experiments could be hiding out at. "Hinata, you also act as a lookout with your Byakugan. Kakashi-senpai and I will create a barrier around the village without Earth-style ninjutsu along with reinforcing it with Fuinjutsu," Yamato said with Naruto and Hinata nodding, the Uzumaki creating the clones and sending them out into the town. "What's your name?" Kakashi asked while looking at the kunoichi. "Fu, my name's Fu," replied Fu, with the Jonin nodding at this. "All right, Fu, do you have a way to contact Taki?" questioned Kakashi, wanting to know if she can call for reinforcements. "I did, but it was destroyed during the encounter with the experiments. Fu said, making Kakashi mentally curse. Well, for now, we'll be playing things safe, at least until we can determine the number and the power level of these failed experiments, stated Yamato, knowing they needed to be on guard and play this carefully. Agreed. I'll also be sending Pakun back to Konoha to inform the Hokage of what's happened and requesting backup, Kakashi said, doubting just the 6 of them will be enough for whatever failed experiments Orochimaru had hidden away. The 2 Jonin then took their leave to get started on setting up the barrier around the town, while Naruto, Satsuki, and Hinata looked at Fu. So, you're from Takagakure. What's it like? Satsuki asked, with the greenette merely shrugging. It's small, not that many ninja or people, but lots of places to be alone, replied Fu, having gotten familiar with those locations whenever she just wanted to get away from the villagers and their looks. What about your family and friends? Questioned Hinata, only to wince when Fu gave her a frosty expression. Never had a family and I don't have friends, Fu retorted, making Naruto frown at hearing this, being reminded of his own childhood. Guess we have more in common than just being Jinchuriki, thought Naruto before seeing Fu look at him, her eyes widening after a moment. Why you're the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. You're like me? Said Fu in shock as her Biju just told her that it could sense the Kyuubi inside Naruto, not expecting to meet another Jinchuriki. What? Satsuki said while looking at Naruto in shock at what Fu just said, before her eyes widened in realization that if he's a Jinchuriki, that's why all the villagers don't like him. Is that what he meant by learning secrets that were kept from him? Is that why he doesn't trust the Hokage anymore, thought Satsuki, wondering if that's what Naruto learned that made him lose faith in the Hokage. And Naruto-kun, said Hinata, looking at Naruto in surprise, not expecting to learn he was a Jinchuriki, but also realizing that's why he had such a lonely childhood and she was told not to go near him. They only see the Kyuubi, Hinata thought, sadly at what her friend crush had to go through. Thanks for just blurting that out, said Naruto, giving the tacky Kunoichi the stink eye for revealing his own status, making Fu flinch slightly. Sorry, I just thought they already knew, Fu said, having assumed they already knew since everyone in Taki knew she was a Jinchuriki. She thought it was the same for the others as well. Naruto could only sigh in frustration before looking at Satsuki and Hinata, prepared to see the fear and wariness on their faces, only for them to look reassuringly at the Uzumaki instead. If you're expecting us to be afraid of you or something like that, then sorry to disappoint, but we're not. You're still the same Naruto we've known, Satsuki stated, with the brunette nodding in agreement. Satsuki's right, it's just surprising to learn something like this. But you're still the same to us, Naruto-kun. I actually think you're really amazing. To be able to stay strong and keep pushing forward despite how everyone else sees you, added Hinata while smiling at him, much to Naruto's surprise. You're both really okay knowing? Naruto asked in surprise, while the girls nodded in response, neither of them really caring if he's a Jinchuriki. The only difference being they knew why people didn't like him. They weren't going to hate him, fear him, or abandon him. Yeah, we're completely fine and we don't care. Something like this isn't going to change anything, especially after everything you've done for us. Helping us train, letting us learn from those scrolls you have, and just being there. I'm not going to leave you for something like this, said Satsuki, refusing to leave her friend crush just because he's a you, especially not after everything he's done for her. And I'm not leaving either, Naruto-kun. I was able to get where I am now because of you, helping me train, encouraging me, and, like Satsuki said, just being there for us. We're your friends and we care about you, so don't think we'll abandon you for anything, Hinata said, also having no intentions of turning her back on the Uzumaki either, while Naruto could only look between them in surprise. Thanks, I care a lot about both of you as well, and I'm glad that you're my friends. And don't sell yourselves short. I'm sure you two would have been able to get strong on your own as well. You both already were strong, I just helped bring it out. You two helped me even more with getting caught up on everything and improving, Naruto replied, touched and thankful that they'd still stay by him, even while knowing he's a Jinchuriki. Let's agree we all helped each other, Satsuki stated while smiling at her teammates and friends, which they returned. Agreed, said Hinata. All right, Naruto added. Fu said, getting the trio's attention, surprised to see her previous guarded expression had turned into a shy and hesitant one. Since you're a Jinchuriki like me and you both accepted him, would you be able to be my friends too? Asked Fu while looking at them hopefully that they would be her friends, with Naruto, Satsuki, and Hinata trading a look before looking at the greenette. I don't see why not, replied Naruto, with Satsuki and Hinata nodding in agreement, making Fu gain a small smile. Really? Fu said, wanting to be sure, with the three genin nodding in response, with her smile growing even bigger. Woohoo! Yes, I have friends, I really have friends, Fu cheered, smiling happily that she had real friends. This is the greatest day ever. Ooh, there's so much we can do together. I have so many games I want to play with you guys. We can also train together since I'm sure you three are really strong. We can also tell each other about ourselves over tea, Fu said in excitement, having thought of so many things she could do if she had friends, and now she can finally do them all. While Naruto and the girls got a sense of deja vu from her sudden switch in behavior, as they were being reminded of he used to be like, making the trio smile in nostalgia, while seeing how happy Fu was that they are now her friends. Easy Fu, how about we start with some training first, then we can see about getting to know each other better, Naruto said while putting a hand on her shoulder to keep her in place. It would be interesting to see what you can do, added Satsuki, curious of what Fu's abilities are. Given she's a Jinchuriki, she must have gained some special abilities from her Biju. We can also teach each other some ninjutsu if we have the same elements, Hinata said, making Fu smile joyfully. They wanted to train with her. Yeah, I even found a really great spot near the town to train in. Let's go, Fu replied before rushing out the room, with the trio following after her while amused at her personality. Later, Fu led Naruto, Satsuki, and Hinata to a clearing near the town where they could train. So Fu, what exactly can you do? Naruto asked, curious of what Fu's abilities were and if she gained any abilities from her Biju. I can do lots of things. I'm able to use my scale powder and hiding in scale powder jutsu to release a large amount of fine powder that, when it catches the light, will glow brightly and blind enemies. I can also create nets that I can connect to allies to transfer chakra to them and heal them. Along with nets I can create to capture targets that can drain them of their chakra and transfer it to me. There's also a cocoon I can form around me and allies to block techniques that drain chakra and provide an additional defense, Fu explained, much to their shock at her abilities, and with how similar it sounded to the techniques the Aburame clan used with their own insects. What about that cylinder thing you carry around? What's that for? Satsuki asked, wondering why Fu was carrying that thing around. I use it to store chakra inside of, in case I ever start running low and need to transfer to allies to heal them. That way I'm not emptying my chakra reserves by transferring it to others, replied Fu, making the three nod in understanding as it made sense she'd have a secondary source of chakra to use. That's pretty smart, making sure you always have a backup source of chakra. What about your elemental affinities? Do you know what they are? Questioned Hinata, with the greenette nodding in response. Yeah, I do. I have a wind affinity and a water affinity. While I know plenty of water-style ninjutsu, I don't really know any wind-style ninjutsu, Fu said, since no one in Taki really had a wind affinity, and she doubted if anyone did they'd teach her any. You seem really strong despite just being a genin, Naruto stated, seeing that Fu must have been specially trained by someone. That's because I had been personally trained by Taki's leader, Shibuki. He taught me everything he knew about water-style ninjutsu, said Fu proudly of being trained by Shibuki, as despite his cowardly nature, he was a powerful ninja and a great leader, before she looked down with a solemn expression. He's actually my only friend in Taki and protected me, training me to be strong, Fu added, thankful for everything Shibuki had done for her, but also saddened that he's her only friend in her own village. Before she looked up as Naruto, Satsuki and Hinata stood around her and smiled the greenette. Well, now you have 3 new friends, stated Satsuki, with Naruto and Hinata nodding in agreement. That's right, and we don't care that you're a Jinchuriki, just like with Naruto-kun. We care about who you are, Fu, Hinata added, making Fu smile happily at their words, that they really wanted to be her friends. As for training, I have a jutsu that can help you. along with being able to teach you some of the wind style and water style ninjutsu we know," Naruto said, while wanting to teach her the shadow clone jutsu as well, knowing she'd be able to take full advantage of it. Even if it isn't to the same extent as he could use it, thanks to him being both an Uzumaki and a Jinchuriki, Fu will definitely be able to make more than her fair share of shadow clones, allowing her to take advantage of the memory feedback. Really? That'd be great, and I'd really like the chance to have something to help with my training. I can also teach you some of the water-style ninjutsu that Shibuki's taught me," said Fu, happy at the chance to learn some new ninjutsu, wanting to also teach them as well. Though she wouldn't be able to teach them the Takegakure-style water-cutting sword, since it's a Takegakure secret technique, but she still had plenty of other ninjutsu she could teach them. "Then let's get started," said Naruto, the girls nodding in agreement as they got started on their training. With Kakashi and Yamato. Meanwhile, Kakashi and Yamato had gone out patrolling the surrounding area after they'd finished setting up the barrier around the village, with the copy ninja having sent Pakun with a message to the Hokage, telling him what they've learned and requesting backup. Though suddenly, they both stopped when they heard a high-pitched laughter echoing around them, making the Jonin tense and get ready for a fight, only to start getting dizzy all of a sudden before they started chuckling. "Wah ha ha, what's ha 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 happening ha ha," Yamato said, trying to control himself but couldn't stop laughing from some reason. "Ah ha ha, I don't ha ha ha, no, it must be ha ha, some kind of genjutsu ha ha ha," laughed Kakashi as he started having trouble standing upright. Then before either of them could react, something fast leapt out of the trees and tackled Kakashi to the ground, stabbing him right through the chest, with Yamato then having something large slam into him before he was impaled on a large scorpion stinger. Their attackers being revealed to be 3 of the failed experiments, with all of them looking like crosses between different animals and humans. The first having a physique similar to a hyena, being covered in brown spotted fur, claws, a long dark brown mane going down his back, blank white eyes, and a crazed grin. The second resembled a giant, bipedal rhino with thick leathery gray skin and a horn growing out of the top of his head. And the third looked like an anthropomorphic scorpion with an exoskeleton covering most of their body, along with having claws and a tail. "Good work. Now let's report back that we've dealt with," said the scorpion with a sinister smirk, only for them to shocked when both Kakashi and Yamato vanished in puffs of smoke, revealing they were just shadow clones while the real Kakashi and Yamato jumped out from where they were hiding. "Earth-style, earth flow spear," Yamato said, slamming his hands on ground, causing multiple stone spikes to shoot out of the ground towards the experiments, forcing them to move back. Except for the rhino who charged right through the spikes, shattering them as he rushed towards the Jonin. "Fire-style, grand fireball jutsu," said Kakashi, unleashing a large fireball at the rhino, making him cry out as he couldn't see, allowing Kakashi and Yamato get out of the way while resulting in the experiment crashing into a tree. "I'm guessing he's the giant, durable tank," stated Yamato, with Kakashi nodding in agreement before looking at the hyena and scorpion. "That must mean they're the fast close-range fighter and the short to mid-range fighter," Kakashi said, with the hyena laughing hysterically before rushing them. "And you'll both be the dead fighters soon enough," the scorpion said before spitting out a stream of green acid, forcing Kakashi and Yamato jump away as the acid hit the spot they were standing and began melting it. With Kakashi then having to pull out a kunai and block the hyena's claws when he leapt at him, before blocking the hyena's other hand and slamming his head into the experiments, managing to knock him away before going through hand signs. "Lightning style, lightning beast tracking fang," said Kakashi, unleashing a lightning hound at the hyena, who quickly ran away as the lightning beast chased him, before the rhino managed to recover from his crash and slam into the lightning beast, dispelling it, while shrugging off the damage as he charged towards the copy ninja. "Wood-style, smothering binding jutsu," Yamato said, turning him arm into wood that grew towards the rhino and began ensnaring him in the branches, with Yamato not having to hold back now that it's just him and Kakashi, only for his eyes to widen and quickly jump out of the way just as the scorpion burst out of the ground, stabbing his stinger into the spot where he'd just been standing, before then using his claws to break the wooden bindings around the rhino, allowing him to charge Yamato, slamming right into the Jonin just as he landed on the ground. Grunting in pain as the rhino slammed into him before charging forward and throwing him against a tree, Yamato quickly rolled out of the way when he went to charge him again. "Wood style, world of trees wall," said Yamato, slamming his hands on the ground as dozens of wooden branches began growing out of the ground and interlocking to form a wide net-like wall, which the rhino charged into, only to end up getting stuck when he couldn't get all the way through. "Earth style, earth flow river," Yamato said, turning the ground beneath Rhino into a muddy river, leaving him no chance to regain his footing. Meanwhile, Kakashi was dealing with both the scorpion and hyena, with the former constantly moving in and out of the ground, while hyena was running around, forcing the Jonin to constantly keep moving. "Lightning style, electromagnetic murder," said Kakashi, unleashing a powerful stream of lightning from his hands at the scorpion, who quickly dived back underground, avoiding the lightning. With Kakashi gritting his teeth when the hyena leapt on his back and bit into his shoulder while digging his claws into his shoulders, though the hyena yelped in pain when Kakashi suddenly turned into lightning, revealing it was just a lightning-style shadow clone. "Water-style, water bullet jutsu," said Kakashi, unleashing a large blast of water at the hyena, intensifying the lightning, shocking him, with the hyena soon falling over unmoving. The Jonin was then forced to jump back when the scorpion burst out of the ground, just barely avoid getting impaled on his stinger. "Water style, water bowl," Yamato said, shooting a jet of water from his hand that slammed into the scorpion, throwing him back and away from Kakashi. Before he heard a loud crash, shocked to see the rhino had managed to break free of his world of trees wall, until he was forced to jump out of the way when the rhino charged at him. "Earth style, multiple earth style wall," Kakashi said, slamming his hands on the ground, forming several earth walls around the rhino and trapping him, with the rhino merely shouting as he began charging at the walls to break free. "Earth style, earth flow spears," said Yamato, slamming his hands on one of the walls, causing dozens of stone spikes to shoot out of the walls, leaving the rhino no place to dodge as the spikes stabbed through his body. Yamato then gagged when the scorpion stabbed his stinger into his chest, laughing wickedly before using his claws to cut the Jonin in half, only to cry out in pain when Kakashi rushed him from behind and stabbed a raikiri through his back. "You made the mistake of falling for the same trick twice," Yamato stated while emerging from the ground, while his body was revealed to be a wood clone as Kakashi pulled his hand out and looked at the scorpion, having made sure to miss anything vital so they could question him. "Now tell us, how did you all escape and how many of you are there?" questioned Kakashi, only for him and Yamato to tense when the scorpion began laughing again. "Ahahahahaha, it won't matter what I tell you, nor how many of us you kill. Our leader Ryujin, he'll make short work of you damn ninja, then he'll turn that town into a graveyard. I only regret not being there to watch you all die," said the scorpion before he then plunged his own stinger into his chest. "Damn it," Kakashi muttered, not liking that they didn't get any information while being concerned that they apparently have a leader. "Well, I doubt that's good. These three would have likely been far more difficult if the genin were here. But even then, they still put a fight, and if they have a leader, I don't think he's going to be any easier to deal with," Yamato said with a frown, while Kakashi nodded in agreement. "Anyone who calls themselves Dragon God will likely have the power to back it up rather than it only being out of arrogance. It makes me worried what exactly Orochimaru did to them to make him take a name like that," said Kakashi, doubting it'll be anything good for them. "Let's just get back and tell the others that 3 of the experiments are at least taken care of and prepare in case more show up," Yamato stated, with the copy ninja nodding in agreement before they headed back towards town. Unknown to them, their fight with the experiments had been watched by someone else, a teenage boy. The boy had pale skin, vivid green eyes, angular facial features, 2 scarlet dots on his forehead, and shoulder-length white hair, which he wore divided down the middle on his head, distinguished by a zigzag hair parting, with 2 separate partings on either side of his face. His attire consisted of a light lavender, loose-fitting, long-sleeved, zip-up shirt, black pants cut off around mid-calf, bandages wrapped around his ankles, traditional shinobi sandals, and a purple, rope-like belt tied in an inverted bow around his waist. He also wore 2 red, tube-like hair ornaments, one on either side of his head, securing 2 locks of his silvery white hair. At the base of his throat was a curse seal being in a circular pattern of 3 curved lines. This is Kimimaro Kaguya, the last member of the extinct Kaguya clan and possessor of their rare Shikatsumiyaku Kekkei Genkai, along with being one of Orochimaru's most loyal followers. He was also the one who released a dozen failed experiments on Orochimaru's orders, having done so while he was at the northern hideout visiting Jugo. Though the reason behind it was a mystery to the Kaguya, whether it was out of boredom or to see if the failed curse seal level 2 experiments could prove useful. It was anyone's guess as to why his master wanted him to release the experiments. No matter. Whatever Orochimaru-sama's reasons for wanting me to do this is none of my concern, only carrying out his will, thought Kimimaro, knowing it wasn't his place to question his master's and savior's orders. Though he's sure Orochimaru will want to know of the presence of Konoha ninja, with Kimimaro going through hand signs. Magic Lantern Body Jutsu, Kimimaro said before kneeling down as the spectral image of Orochimaru soon appeared before him. Kimimaro, I take your reporting in on how my failed experiments are doing? Orochimaru asked despite already knowing the answer, with Kimimaro nodding and lifting his head. Yes, Orochimaru-sama. Though it seems 3 of them proved to be little more than trash as they've been killed by Kakashi Hadake and another Konoha ninja, one who possesses the Mokuden Kekkei Genkai. Kimimaro replied, which got the Snake Sanin's full attention. Ah, it would seem one of the failures survived then. How interesting. Anything else? Asked Orochimaru, getting another nod from the Kaguya. Yes, they've also been accompanied by 3 genin, 2 I recognize as a Hyuga and the last Uchiha, Satsuki Uchiha. I am unsure about the 3rd, though. Also, one of the Taki ninja is still alive as well, said Kimimaro, with Orochimaru smirking at hearing Satsuki was here. It would seem that things have just gone better then. A chance to see how strong Satsuki is and her potential as a future vessel, along with seeing who else Kakashi and my old experiment are training. You've done well, Kimimaro, said Orochimaru, with Kimimaro merely bowing his head. Thank you, Orochimaru-sama. I shall ensure to keep you updated and informed of anything and everything of note that happens, Kimimaro said, pleased at having done well in serving his master, while Orochimaru nodded before ending the jutsu. Once his image had vanished completely, Kimimaro stood up and took off towards the town to better observe the ninja and what they're capable of. 4 days have passed since Team 7 had arrived to take of chakra mutants attacking it, only to learn they were really failed experiments made by Orochimaru. Having learned this from Fu, a Taki kunoichi that had been hired along with her teammates to deal with the experiments. With Fu being the only survivor after they hunted down the experiments, the Greenette escaping while her teammates were killed. After learning all this, Kakashi had sent Pakun back to Konoha to request backup before he and Yamato went to set up defenses around the town. While Naruto, Satsuki, and Hinata got to know Fu, who'd accidentally revealed Naruto's Jinchuriki status to both girls, and while shocked at this, it didn't change how they saw the Uzumaki either, leading to them becoming Fu's friends at her request upon seeing that they didn't care about Naruto being a Jinchuriki, while making her happy to finally have friends outside of Shibuki, resulting in the 4 genin training together while they waited for their backup to arrive, with Naruto having also taught Fu the Shadow Clone Jutsu, something that excited the Nanabi Jinchuriki after learning how useful it could be during training, and touched that Naruto would teach her it. The 4 of them had also taught each other some ninjutsu, with Naruto, Satsuki, and Hinata teaching Fu the water style and wind style ninjutsu they knew, while Fu taught them the water style ninjutsu she knew, as well as teaching Naruto and Hinata some exercises to strengthen their water style ninjutsu as well. They also learned that Fu was pretty skilled in kenjutsu as well, when she showed them the Takigakure style, water-cutting sword, while understanding that it's one jutsu she couldn't teach them. But it did give Naruto and Satsuki the chance to spar against her, using their swords, with Hinata also sparring against them while using their swords, wanting to get better at fighting opponents that use weapons. Outside of the training, the genin also spent time together while getting to know each other better, something that made Fu happier than she'd been in a long time, which the Konoha genin noticed, making them happy as well that they were able to help Fu and befriend the Taki kunoichi. Currently, Team 7 and Fu were at the entrance of town, waiting for their backup to arrive, knowing they should be arriving today. So, who did the Hokage send anyway? Satsuki asked while looking at Kakashi and Yamato, wondering who their backup will be. The message didn't give any specific names, just that it'll be a 3-man team which will have a medic ninja, someone to help gather information and interrogate one of the experiments if we capture one of them alive, and someone to help fight them, replied Kakashi, knowing that names weren't usually included in messages in case they were ever intercepted. Will that be enough? Just 3 more people? Questioned Hinata, not sure if 3 people will make much of a difference, especially if only one would be helping them actually fight the experiments. It will be, along with being safer since a larger team would draw more attention, as well as potentially cause the experiments to attack all at once or flee if they don't want to face superior numbers, Yamato said, the genin nodding in understanding since they couldn't risk the experiments attacking all at once or running away and scattering. After another hour, the ninja could see their backup approaching before they soon jumped down in front of the town entrance, with Naruto, Satsuki, and Hinata recognizing one of the members of the team as Yugao Yuzuki. Yugao is a young woman with fair skin, straight, purple hair reaching down to her waist and tied in a ponytail, and warm brown eyes, along with having a red flame-like tattoo on her right shoulder, with her attire consisting of a black halter top that left her midsection exposed, a green flak jacket, form-fitting black pants, black elbow-length gloves with metal arm guards, black ninja sandals, and a sword strapped to her back. The genin having met Yugao after Kakashi and Yamato brought her during training sessions to help Naruto and Satsuki with their kenjutsu, though she didn't show up all the time due to her being busy, unaware that she was fulfilling her Anbu duties, with her fiancé, Gecko, filling in as their kenjutsu instructor when she was unavailable. As for the other 2, the first is a large, imposing man with tan skin, black eyes, and 2 scars on his face with one going diagonally down his right cheek and jaw, and the second going down the left side of his face near his eye and through his mouth to his chin, with him wearing a dark gray, nearly black, uniform consisting of a button shirt with a folded collar, matching colored pants, and dark gray ninja sandals, a black trench coat over it, and a bandana version of the forehead protector wrapped around his head. And the second was a 19-year-old teen boy with pale skin, onyx-colored eyes covered by circular, black-rimmed glasses, and ash-gray hair kept in a ponytail and bangs that parted at the center. His attire consisted of a dark purple shirt with a high collar, a white undershirt, dark purple pants with a white cloth waistband, blue ninja sandals, dark purple fingerless gloves with armored plates on the back of the hand, and a blue forehead protector. Ibiki, I'm surprised the Hokage sent you. Kakashi said in surprise that the Hokage chose to send Ibiki to get information out of the experiments. Given the circumstances, Hokage-sama wanted to ensure we got all the information we could get out of these experiments, replied Ibiki, with the 2 jonin nodding at this, knowing if anyone can make any experiments they capture reveal their secrets, it'd be Ibiki. Well, it's good to see you here, you as well Yugao. And I take it this is the medic ninja, Yamato said as he and Kakashi shook their colleagues' hands before turning to who they guessed was the medic ninja, who smiled and bowed lightly to them. I am indeed. Genin Kabuto Yakushi, I'm looking forward to helping in any way I can, introduced Kabuto, getting surprised looks from Team 7 and Fu that he's just a genin. A genin? Wasn't there anyone else? Kakashi asked, wondering why the Sandame would send a genin when there could have been more experienced medic nin available. It may seem strange, and while Kabuto's had a less than stellar track record when it comes to the Chunin exams, he's also proven to be one of our best medics. Being the adopted son of the late, former captain of the medic corps, and his part-time work at the hospital, it's why the Hokage assigned him to this mission, since he isn't expecting him to take part in any field work as a medic ninja. And if he does a good enough job, then he can qualify for a field promotion, Ibiki explained, knowing for any genin that don't have any luck in the Chunin exams, they would find better luck in advancing through the ranks with field promotions. Indeed, while I may not be much of a fighter, I still do what I can and hope to be able to advance to Chunin with what I do here, said Kabuto while scratching his cheek sheepishly at his past failures in the Chunin exams, with Kakashi nodding in understanding at this, knowing that rank doesn't mean anything, it's how skilled and talented a person is. If the Hokage chose Kabuto as the medic nin, then it means he must be very talented. Either way, it's good to have you here Kabuto. With what we're up against we'll likely need a skilled medic, These are our genin, Naruto Uzumaki, Satsuki Uchiha and Hinata Hyuga, with this being Fu from Takagakure," said Yamato, with Kabuto nodding before turning to his fellow genin. "Hello, it's nice meeting you four," said Kabuto while shaking their hands, though Fu merely nodded and regarded the backup team warily. As while she's begun opening up more with Naruto, Satsuki and Hinata, she's still wary and distrustful of other people she didn't know. "It's nice meeting you as well, Kabuto. Are you really that talented of a medic ninja for the Hokage to send you?" questioned Hinata, given with her desire to learn medical ninjutsu. It'd be good to see if Kabuto would be willing to help her when he isn't busy. "I don't mean to brag or anything, but I like to believe I'm one of the best medic nin in Konoha, learning all I can and improving my knowledge, along with making sure I have perfect chakra control, and I'm hoping to prove myself on this mission," Kabuto replied, though having completely different thoughts to what he was saying. Having been contacted by Orochimaru to make sure he was the medic nin on the backup team to ensure Konoha doesn't learn anything they shouldn't about the curse marks, with it being easy enough to make sure his file was among those the Hokage wanted, to see who'd be the best qualified for the mission, along with a convincing performance of being eager to prove himself in the field in the hopes for a field promotion, getting him a spot on the team. And the chance to study these failed experiments was also too good to pass up, to see what changes could have occurred since they were left here, thought Kabuto while pushing his glasses up, intrigued to study the experiments' bodies and the information he can gather from them. "In fact, if you're interested, when you all aren't out in the field, and I'm not busy with my duties as a medic, I could even teach you some advanced chakra control exercises I know, as well as some medical ninjutsu," Kabuto offered, surprising the genin at the offer. "You'd help teach us medical ninjutsu and improve our chakra control?" "Why?" Satsuki asked with a raised brow, figuring he'd be more focused on his own duties and training. "Well, as your senpai, I feel it's my responsibility to help train new genin to be better prepared for when they go out into the field, along with the other trials and tribulations that come with being a ninja. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that while it's important to always have a medic nin in your team, it's even better if the entire team could heal themselves than rely on a single person," replied Kabuto, something the genin could understand as it made sense. "That'd be really great, Kabuto. I'm actually learning medical ninjutsu, and having someone teaching me would be even better," Hinata said with a smile as Satsuki nodded in agreement. "It would be good to be able to heal our own injuries if we end up alone and are low on supplies," said Satsuki, knowing that way they'd be able to heal themselves and conserve supplies like medical equipment. "I'll think about it, since I doubt that I'll be able to get my chakra control high enough to learn medical ninjutsu," said Naruto, hesitant at accepting help from someone he didn't know or trust. "Are you sure? I'd be happy to help, and if medical ninjutsu doesn't work, I also have knowledge on a wide range of herbs that can be made into medicines and poisons that'd be useful on missions," Kabuto said, with Naruto simply nodding. "I'll think about it," Naruto repeated before looking away. "Don't mind Naruto, he's just become rather introverted with those from Konoha," said Satsuki, knowing that Naruto wouldn't trust someone instantly, especially if they're from Konoha as well. "Yeah, Naruto-kun also has trust issues among his peers, especially with those he doesn't know, and it'd take a while before you can earn his trust. It's nothing personal," Hinata added, with Kabuto waving it off in understanding, but also taking note of this change. It seems it's not just his physical appearance that's changed, it's also his personality. And from what I'm sensing, Naruto also seems to have grown stronger as well, compared to what his academy record says. I'll have to make sure to keep a close eye on these genin, especially Naruto and Satsuki with their progress. Hinata and Fu are a bonus as well, an unbranded Hyuga that's been cast out of the clan and branching out in her techniques, as well as the Nanabi Jinchuriki, thought Kabuto, knowing these genin will warrant his attention and see how they progress. Especially since the Greenette is also a target of his other master, and the organization he's a part of, knowing it could prove beneficial if he has a chance to bring her to them. Kabuto then turned his attention to Kakashi and Yamato as they began filling the backup team in on everything that's happened, while Yuga went over and smiled at the genin, which Naruto, Satsuki and Hinata returned. "It's good to see you three again," Yugo said, glad to see her part-time students and that they're alright despite how dangerous this mission looks to be. You too, Yugo-sensei. We've also been keeping up with the training you've given us, along with Hayate-sensei, replied Naruto, with Satsuki nodding in agreement. I'm also getting better at dual-wielding my swords as well, especially with the sparring matches we've been having against Fu, Satsuki added, getting Yugao's attention as she turned to the greenette. You know Kenjutsu? I'm guessing that means you know how to use the water-cutting sword, said Yugao, surprising Fu that she knew about that technique. You know about it? Questioned Fu, with the perplexed nodding in response. I've heard about it. Since Kenjutsu's always been an interest of mine, I learn about all the different styles and types of swords used in it. The Takegakure style, water-cutting sword, is certainly the most unique I've heard of, and I'd be interested in seeing you use it, Fu. If you want, while we're here and aren't busy, I could even give you some pointers, since I also help Naruto and Satsuki with their Kenjutsu training, Yugao said, surprising Fu again at the offer before she looked to the other genin, wanting to see what they thought of her. With the trio nodding, having gotten to know Yugao during their training sessions, along with what they hears from Hayate about her, they all trusted the perplexed, making Fu turn back to Yugao and nod slowly, accepting her offer, willing to give her a chance but would remain guarded. That about covers everything. Kabuto, when you're ready to examine the bodies, we've got them stored away in the clinic, Kakashi said, with the medic Nin nodding in response. I'll head there now and get started. I'll bring a report once I find out everything I can, replied Kabuto before heading towards the clinic to begin his examination. While he's doing that, you both come with me to help set up a workshop I can use, Ibiki said, Kakashi and Yamato nodding, knowing his workshop will need to be secured and prepared for interrogation and, potentially, torture. Yugao, you and the genin head out to start scouting the area and see about setting up some traps as well. Kakashi-senpai and I will join you once we're done helping Ibiki, said Yamato as the trio left to find somewhere to set up a workshop. Alright, then let's head out and start scouting the area and putting up some traps, Yugao said to the genin, who nodded in response before they headed out of the village to get started. Unknown location. Meanwhile, unknown to the ninja, the leader of the failed experiment, Ryujin, has just learned of the death of 3 of his subordinates. Ryujin was a young man with pale skin, long black hair that went down to his waist and kept tied up in a ponytail, pointed ears, black claws, red eyes, and a red scar that ran diagonally across his nose, left eye, and right cheek. With his attire consisting of a red kimono held closed by a teal sash, black robes over the kimono, and a large white fur around his neck and wrapped around his right arm. With Ryujin currently sitting on a throne made out of bones, being mostly made out of skulls, looking down at 3 of his fellow failed second-stage curse mark experiments that were kneeling before him. The first being a muscular bipedal horse with brown skin, a mane of black hair, a matching colored tail, solid yellow eyes, and a horn sprouting from their forehead, with them only wearing a battle skirt made of white and black fur, a necklace made of large red beads, gold bands around their forearms, and blue and gold bracers, with them also wielding a large battle axe. The second was an equally muscular bipedal bull with black skin, horns sprouting from the top of their head, and solid blue eyes, with them wearing a similar battle skirt with the addition of a blue loincloth, a necklace made of large blue beads, blue and hold bracers, and a gold ring through their nose, along with carrying a large hammer. And the final experiment was a bipedal wolf creature, with dark gray fur covering its body, lighter gray fur around its muzzle and chest, solid dark yellow eyes, razor-sharp claws, and fangs sprouting from the corners of its mouth, with their only clothing being torn dark blue pants and gray cuffs around their wrists. So, Blitz, Tank, and Jester are dead, killed by Konoha ninja, Ryujin said, not liking to hear more ninja have arrived, even less that they killed 3 of his fellow failed experiments. Yes, Ryujin-sama, we found the site of the battle and got a look at the village, finding it's now surrounded by a wall with the ninja residing inside. We also heard that they would be expecting backup to arrive as well, said the horse, making Ryujin close his eyes letting out a sigh of annoyance, before opening his eyes again. Mizuki, Kazuki, Lycan. Find these ninja and deal with all of them, along with that tacky ninja that managed to escape, Kill them and bring me their heads, so they can be added to my collection," said Ryujin, refusing to have these ninja continue interfering in their business. "Yes, Ryujin-sama," said the three experiments before they stood up and took off to leave their base to track down the ninja and deal with them. Later with Kabuto *. Kabuto looked over the bodies of Blitz, Tank and Jester, having looked at samples of their blood, bones, and organs to see what he could find, along with where their curse marks were located as well, before he began examining them to see what changes there were. Once that was done, he began filling out his reports to be delivered. The animal curse seals seems to have improved since the prototype stages. There doesn't seem to be any cell destruction nor any deterioration in their bodies, and despite being dead, they've yet to revert back to their human forms, Kabuto thought while writing down his notes as he glanced at the bodies. Unlike the curse seals on the Sound 4 and Kimimaro, the animal curse seal was the predecessor, instead giving instructions on how to make a potion that had transformed the user. Unfortunately, the potion was incomplete, as any test subjects died not long after since their bodies couldn't handle the power boost, and those that did survive might as well have died since they lose all their power, shrivel up, and can barely move on their own. With this being the completed version that Orochimaru had created and acted like the current curse seal, where he'd bite them and see if they survived. Though the Sannin had lost interest in the project after discovering Jugo and his unique abilities to create an even stronger curse seals. Though judging from the battle they had with Kakashi and Yamato, perhaps these experiments have found a way to draw out more power from their curse seals, perhaps even a way for them to permanently remain in their second stage forms even after death. But would they be able to transform back to their human forms, or do they end up stuck in their transformed states, thought Kabuto as he continued writing. Though if I recall correctly, Tayuya has shown the ability to draw out more of her curse seal's power when she has strong feelings of hatred and rage, enough to where she could beat Saken and Yukin. Could it be their hatred and anger allowed them to draw out more power, or is it an ability unique to only Tayuya? Or perhaps they had begun to transform even further past the second stage, allowing them to evolve and adapt, while gaining more power and new abilities. Is it possible that this version of the curse seal doesn't have a limit to how much power the user can gain, allowing them to continuously grow stronger? Could that be the case with Ryujin, for him to be the leader and have the most power? Did he grow even stronger? Kabuto thought with a frown. Finishing his report before he went over and sabotaged the bodies, making it seem like the cells began deteriorating, breaking them down until there would soon be nothing useful left. Once that was done, he began writing his official report to deliver to Ibiki, while sending a shadow clone to meet up with Kimimaro and deliver the real report to Orochimaru. Finding the Kaguya outside the village, far enough away to where he wouldn't be sensed by the Konoha ninja, but close enough to keep an eye on them. "Kabuto, what did you find out?" Kimimaro asked while looking at the clone, who handed him the report. "Here's the data I've collected for Orochimaru-sama," replied the clone, with Kimimaro nodding as he looked the report over, frowning at the more he read. "You think the experiments could have become even stronger?" stated Kimimaro, with the clone nodding in response as the Kaguya sealed the report away to be delivered to Orochimaru. "It's a possibility, given that just 3 of them were able to give Kakashi and Yamato trouble for a while, along with displaying unexpected abilities like spitting acid and casting a genjutsu to make anyone laugh uncontrollably. And the fact Ryujin is able to make all of them obey and listen to him means he's potentially grown even stronger than he was before," the clone said, which only made Kimimaro's frown deepen. Given how last time they saw Ryujin, he was second only to Jugo in terms of power, especially since his curse seal was unique as it was one of the newer curse seals with elements of the animal ones added to it. If he's grown even stronger, then he could prove to be a serious problem. "You believe we should assist the Konoha ninja in dealing with Ryujin, should he prove too much for them?" said Kimimaro, with the clone nodding at his words. "Yes, if Ryujin does prove too powerful and kills them, then he'd be left to his own devices with no one to get in his way, which could prove disastrous for us if he plans to target Orochimaru-sama," the clone said, making the Kaguya narrow his eyes in anger at the thought of anyone daring to target his master savior. "Very well. We will assist the Konoha ninja if Ryujin proves too much for them to handle and ensure he does not become a threat to Orochimaru-sama," Kimimaro stated, with the clone nodding in agreement before dispelling as the Kaguya pulled out a summoning scroll and a vial of blood. In a puff of smoke, a snake summon appeared, who Kimimaro handed the storage scroll to, which it proceeded to swallow before dispelling to deliver the report to Orochimaru. Asterisk with Team 7, Fu, and Yigao asterisk. Meanwhile, Yugao and the genin had set up several traps around the town, being able to cover more ground with the help from Naruto's and Fu's shadow clones, with them soon being joined by Kakashi and Yamato after they'd finished helping Ibiki set up his workshop. Once they finished setting up several traps, the genin and 3 jonin began scouting the surrounding forest, looking for any sign for where the experiments could be, going to where Kakashi and Yamato fought the 3 experiments to see if they could pick up a trail for where they came from, with them all jumping through the trees, only for them to be forced to stop by a sudden powerful blast of wind. The wind forcing them to channel chakra to their feet to stick to the branches to avoid getting blown away, though they didn't have time to react as the wind turned razor sharp, slicing right through the trees they were standing on, making them all lose their footing as they were sent flying through the air, with Kakashi, Yamato and Yugao managing to grab hold of some trees that weren't destroyed, while Naruto, Satsuki, Hinata, and Fu weren't as lucky as they went flying into the forest, making the jonin mentally curse as the wind soon stopped. But before they could go after the genin, they were forced to jump back by a large blast of flames shooting from the ground. The 3 tensing with Kakashi and Yamato pulling out a kunai, while Yugao drew her sword when Kazuki and Mizuki jumped down on either side of them. Not a moment later, Kazuki slammed his hammer into the ground, causing the ground to start shaking before stone spikes shot out of the ground towards the ninja, with them quickly jumping into the air to avoid the spikes before Yugao raised her sword blocking Mizuki's axe after he jumped up after them. Wind-style air bullets, Mizuki shouted, shooting multiple air bullets right at Yugao, with the perplet having no time to dodge the point-blank attack as she was sent flying back and flying into a tree grunting at the impact. Earth-style, flying thrown stones, said Kazuki before slamming his hammer into the ground again, sending dozens of rocks flying right at Yugao. Lightning-style, electromagnetic murder, Kakashi said, going through hand signs before releasing a stream of lightning that blasted through the rocks towards Kazuki. Water-style, water trumpet, said Yamato, shooting a jet of water through his hands at the bull experiment, combining with the lightning empowering both attacks, only for Mizuki to jump down in front of Kazuki. Wind-style, wind cutter jutsu, said Mizuki while swinging his axe and unleashing several blades of wind, slashing through and dispersing the stream of water, along with dispelling the lightning. Fire-style, blazing meteors, said Kazuki, releasing several fireballs at the 2 jonin, with the flames growing even larger and more powerful by the wind cutter jutsu. The sight making Kakashi and Yamato quickly use a substitution to avoid getting hit by the wind blades and fireballs, with Yugao having recovered from the previous hit from Mizuki before getting behind the 2 experiments, creating 5 shadow clones that all rushed the 2 from blind spots. Dance of the crescent moon, said Yugao, as Kazuki and Mizuki looked to her and her clones before they all leapt through the air in a formation reminiscent of a crescent moon, with the sudden change making Kazuki and Mizuki look to see where they landed as Yugao and her clones rushed them with their swords drawn. Fire-style, running fire, said Kazuki, creating a circle of fire around him and Mizuki. Wind-style, divine wind, Mizuki said, releasing a gust of wind that began forming into several mini tornadoes, which combined with the flaming circle, creating tornadoes of fire that rushed right towards Yugao and her clones, incinerating each of them until nothing but ash was left. Though suddenly the 2 experiments found themselves ensnared by multiple branches emerging from the ground, with Yamato soon emerging from the ground, with his right arm current being made of wood and digging into the ground. Wood-style, smothering binding jutsu, said Yamato before they heard the sound of birds chirping, as Kakashi and Yugao both leapt from the trees, the perplet having been hidden the entire time while sending clones to distract them. Reikiri, Kakashi said, diving down towards Kazuki to stab his Reikiri into his chest. Hazy moon night, said Yugao while swinging her sword in a circular motion, leaving behind afterimages before rushing Mizuki. The copy ninja impaled Kazuki in the chest, while Yugao stabbed her sword through Mizuki's neck, killing both of the failed experiments. only for the three to be shocked when Gozuki and Mizuki dissolved into mud, showing they were only Earth-style shadow clones. Earth-style, Earth corridor, Gozuki shouted as he emerged from the ground before it began rising up around the Konoha ninja until they were completely trapped inside the now expansive cavern Gozuki created, with the bull-like and horse-like creatures being at one of the exits, while Mizuki had 3 clones at the other 3 exits. Lightning-style, depth charge, said Mizuki and his clones, as all of them surrounded their bodies in lightning before swinging their axes at the tunnels, unleashing powerful bolts of electricity into them. While within the tunnel, Kakashi, Yamato, and Yugao heard the sound of electricity before their eyes widened as they soon saw the lightning come at them from either side. Earth-style, mud wall, Kakashi said, going through hand signs before slamming his hands on the ground, creating 2 stone walls on either side of them to block the lightning. Wood-style, wood-locking wall, said Yamato, going through hand signs as wooden roots emerged from the ground and surrounded the trio in a dome of wood for added defense, getting their shields up just in time as the bolts of electricity crashed into and through the stone walls, hitting the wooden dome with Yamato gritting his teeth as he used more chakra to keep the dome up, only stopping once they heard the lightning finally fade away, before tensing as they then heard Gozuki and Mizuki attacking the dome with their weapons trying to break through, making the 3 trade looks, knowing this was going to be more difficult than they thought, with Naruto, Satsuki, Hinata, and Fu. Meanwhile, Naruto and the girls had landed on the ground after being sent flying, making them grunt at the impact before getting up. "Are you 3 all right?" Naruto asked while looking at the girls as they picked themselves up. "Yeah, we're good," replied Satsuki, Hinata and Fu nodding in agreement. "Was that one of the experiments that attacked?" Hinata asked as she activated her Byakugan to keep an eye out, in case any other of the experiments were nearby. "They've probably learned about you all being here and that 3 of their members are now dead, which means these ones are likely stronger than the other 3. Fu stated, making the Konoha genin nod in agreement, before they tensed when they suddenly saw something speeding through the trees. "Hinata," Satsuki said as he drew her swords and combined them together into a bow, with Naruto drawing his katana as well, all of them looking around for the experiment. I'm having trouble following it. It's moving so fast there," said Hinata, pointing to where the experiment was going to be, making Satsuki immediately shoot an arrow into trees, only to end up missing, before they were forced to jump out of way of several crescent-shaped blades of chakra came shooting out of trees at them, with Naruto tensing as he quickly raised his sword, blocking Lycan's claws as the wolf-like experiment leapt out of trees at the Uzumaki, only to grunt in pain when Lycan opened his muzzle, unleashing a loud sonic howl as a blue concussive blast, the blast sending Naruto flying into a tree, though he managed to catch himself and flip around while landing on his feet, sticking to the tree, before jumping away when Lycan jumped at him, his claws tearing through the tree with ease. "Water-style, rising water slicer," Fu said while going through hand signs before slamming her hands on the ground, causing a linear wave of water to shoot up and rush towards Lycan. "Lightning-style, electric shock needles," said Satsuki while creating several needles made of lightning before launching them at Lycan, with Lycan opening his mouth and unleashing another sonic howl at the 2 jutsu, stopping them from hitting him before sending them right back at Satsuki and Fu, the 2 attacks combining as a result and making it even more powerful. "Wind-style, divine mountain wind," Naruto said while jumping in front of Satsuki and Fu, creating a vortex of wind that he launched at the attack with the 2 colliding against each other, with the Uzumaki pushing more chakra into his jutsu while Lycan began howling louder. Luckily, the stalemate ended as Hinata took the chance to get in close behind Lycan. "Fire-style, flame capture," Hinata said, creating a whip of fire which she launched at Lycan, wrapping it around his neck and stopped his howl, allowing Naruto's wind vortex to slam into him, which also enhanced the fire whip, while sending Lycan crashing into a tree which collapsed on top of him. Though not a moment later, Lycan threw the tree off of him, roaring loudly as chakra flared around him before he vanished in a burst of speed, none of them having time to react as Lycan appeared behind Hinata, slamming his fist into the side of her head, sending the blue net flying through the trees, with him then appearing in front of Naruto, Satsuki and Fu before bringing his claws up and uppercutting both girls, launching them into the air before then unleashing a sonic howl at Naruto, sending him crashing into a tree. The wolf-like experiment keeping up the howl, keeping the Jinchuriki pinned to the tree as he moved in closer, increasing the pressure of the blast. Though suddenly Naruto started glowing before he exploded, sending Lichen skidding back, growling at seeing it was just a clone. Looking around, he didn't see any sign of Hinata, Satsuki or Fu, showing they'd escaped as well. Raising his head, Lichen sniffed the air until he caught their scent before taking off through the forest after them. Soon catching sight of the Uchiha jumping through the trees, making Lichen release another sonic howl at her, only for Satsuki to jump out of the way by going down to the ground. The sight making Lichen leap right at the ravenet, but was thrown back as Satsuki immediately turned around, showing her bow and nocked arrow. Lichen not having a chance to dodge as Satsuki fired the arrow, but rather than impale him, it split into 4 pieces, revealing a net that ensnared Lichen. With Lichen finding himself pinned against a tree and trapped in the net before he saw Satsuki holding a length of ninja wire attached to the net. The Uchiha then bit down on the end of it and went through hand signs. "Fire style, dragon fire jutsu," Satsuki said through the wire before unleashing a stream of fire that trailed along the wire right towards Lichen, consuming the experiment in a wave of flames. Though Lichen managed to let out a sonic howl, dispersing the flames back before tearing through the net and rushing Satsuki, roaring and prepared to tear her apart with his claws, only to find himself knocked to the side as Naruto jumped through the trees, slamming his foot into Lichen's head. The kick sending Lichen crashing through the ground into a large pit with stone spikes at the bottom. Lichen managed to dig his claws into the side of the pit, saving himself from being impaled on the spikes, before looking up to see Naruto and Satsuki standing there. "Water style, surging sea," said Naruto after going through hand signs before expelling a large amount of water at Lichen, the experiment gritting its teeth as the pressure pushed him further into the pit. "Lightning style, lightning ball," Satsuki said, creating several balls of lightning she launched at Lichen, electrocuting him, which was only made more painful from the water acting as a conductor. With Lichen unable to keep his grip and fell down into the pit, but unleashed a powerful sonic howl at the spikes, managing to destroy them so he only landed on solid ground rather than be impaled. Once the attack stopped, Lichen leapt out of the pit only to see Naruto and Satsuki were gone, making him roar in rage before taking off through the forest again. Though he didn't get far when he saw a massive log came swinging towards him, which Lichen was able to grab hold of and jump past it, only to see even more logs swinging around him, forcing the wolf-like experiment to constantly keep moving to avoid getting hit by any of the logs. Lichen then began feeling droplets hitting him, making him look up only to frown at seeing it was raining. Though when he looked at the droplets on him, his eyes widened as rather than being regular water, the droplets were completely black, before he sniffed them and realized it wasn't water, it's oil. "Water style, tornado of water," said Fu as she and Hinata jumped down a good distance away from Lichen, who didn't have time to react as the oil began swirling around him as a large vortex. "Fire style, fox fire," Hinata said, creating 10 blue fireballs she launched at the vortex, the oil igniting the moment the fire made contact and began burning Lichen. The wolf-like experiment tried escaping the flames but couldn't get through them with how hot they were burning, before he looked up and saw that there was still an opening at the top, leading Lichen to aim beneath him and released a sonic howl, propelling himself into the air and out of the fiery vortex. Landing on the ground, Lichen saw once again that his prey had escaped, enraging him even more than he already was. Though rather than rush off to find them again, Lichen instead began swinging his claws all around him, unleashing dozens of crescent-shaped blades of chakra that tore through the surrounding trees. He continued this for several moments until soon a good portion of the forest was destroyed, with Lichen then sniffing the air until he caught the genin's scent. But instead of going after them himself, Lichen howled loudly as his chakra flared around him before moving and forming 3 wolves made of chakra, which he directed to go after the genin, while Lichen began running at full speed to circle around them and attack them from the front while his wolves attacked from behind. While the genin were quickly jumping through the trees, pleased that they've managed to injure Lichen with their teamwork, traps, and ambushes. Though when they sensed him start destroying the forest, they knew they needed to think of something to end the fight, not wanting to risk Lichen starting to take it more seriously. Only for them to look behind them, surprised when they saw the chakra wolves chasing after them, not expecting Lycan to be able to do that. Before they quickly separated when the wolves began closing the distance between them. Takagakure style, water-cutting sword, said Fu as she spat out some water which then solidified in the form of a sword, using it to block one of the wolves when it jumped at her, only to bite down on her sword. With Satsuki ducking under the second wolf as it tried tackling her, the Uchiha quickly drawing one of her swords and sliced the wolf across its side, only to be surprised when it wasn't fazed by the attack. Before she raised her sword blocking the wolf when it slashed its claws at her, quickly drawing her second sword and slamming the flat of it against the wolf's head. Hinata sidestepped the third wolf, delivering a palm strike to its head watching, as it was knocked back into a tree before falling to the ground, only for it to get back up and shake its head, growling at the brunette before leaping up at her, forcing Hinata to jump back to avoid getting bitten by the wolf. While Naruto drew his katana and went to help the girls deal with the wolves, before quickly turning around and blocking Lycan's claws. The Uzumaki not having time to react when Lycan brought his other hand up, delivering an uppercut that knocked Naruto into the air. The wolf-like experiment then jumping up above Naruto and unleashed a sonic howl that sent him crashing into the ground, which also distracted the girls, giving the chakra wolves the chance to attack them, with Fu getting tackled from behind and knocked to the ground, with Satsuki gritting her teeth as a wolf bit into her shoulder before being thrown to the ground, and Hinata had claws raked across her stomach, sending her stumbling back to the ground as well. The four genin stood up, only to see Lycan and his chakra wolves standing across from them, making them tense as Naruto, Satsuki and Fu held their blades at the ready while Hinata got into her stance. Not a moment later, Lycan roared as he and his wolves charged the genin. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 3. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Windstorm 16 on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.